Cubase Masterclass. Hello and welcome to my course. I've been an audio engineer for the past 12 years. Cubase is my main DAW. The meaning of DAW is Digital Audio Workstation. In this course, I'll be taking you through how to set up Cubase, record your first MIDI and audio instrument, as well as record your vocals. We will arrange our project, edit, and also mix and master our song for this course. This course will take you from scratch to the point where you're comfortable with Cubase. Even though I've been using Cubase for the past 12 years, I still have a lot to learn. Cubase Masterclass is ideal for beginners. Enroll today to unlock your creativity. Thanks a lot, and let's get started. In this lesson, we'll be learning how to set up Cubase for the first time. So let's assume that you've got your Cubase icon over here. I'm assuming that you've already installed your Cubase. The very first thing you have to do is double click on the icon, and this is what happens when you double click on the icon. After double clicking on the Cubase icon, this is what we are going to have over here. On the left section, you could see news and updates. If I'm not connected to the internet, so if you are connected to the internet, you're going to get news and updates from Cubase. That is what comes over here. In the right section, there is a recent, and then recent explains your recent projects. Let's assume that you've already done some projects. Those projects will be saved here. So anytime you open Cubase for the first time, you have the option to select the projects you want to work with. So if you are doing something like an acoustic guitar with a vocal, you can go with this preset and you can get something nice out of it. It's also very nice. If it's a clean e-guitar plus a vocal, if the song you are doing is a clean e-guitar with a vocal, you can just go straight up here, and you can also take this preset. The scoring, they are all presets, so you can also, if you want to use it for scoring, you can choose piano composition, piano trial, string quartet. You know, it depends on your taste and what you are going in for. And then there is a production as well. You can choose from the production presets. If you are going for a blues rock production, if you are going for a classic rock production, you can just choose a preset and it's going to pop up. But for the purpose of this lesson, we wouldn't be choosing this preset for now. In this section, we are going to go in for create empty, and then create a folder and name it, let's say, Cubase lesson 1. The reason why I'm doing this is everything we are going to do will be saved in this particular folder, the Cubase lesson 1 folder. So you select Cubase, you make sure that Cubase lesson 1 is selected, and then just go on select folder. The moment you go on select folder, this is what you are going to have over here. And that is how the whole interface looked like. Cubase setup for an easy workflow. Our main goal is to set up Cubase for an easy workflow in this lesson. So what we are going to do is go straight to Studio and select Studio Setup. This is where you select your audio ASIO. The ASIO is a driver that comes with the sound card, and it's going to help the workflow in Cubase. To keep things very simple, we are just going to select our ASIO according to the name of our sound card. So in my case, the name of my sound card is Fast Track Duo. So I'm selecting this as my ASIO. In your case, you can select any ASIO name depending on the kind of sound card you are using. So take that into consideration. So let's assume in my case, I've got Fast Track Duo. It's selected, and then we just go on OK. After selecting, you're going to get this option. Do you want to switch to ASIO driver? Just go on switch and just switch to it. And then you click OK. Audio setup, input and output configuration. In this section, we are going to configure our audio input and output. And by doing that, you just locate Studio here. And then you click on Studio and go to Audio Connection. Audio connection. The shortcut for that is F4. So you can also go straight, you can hit F4 on the keyboard, and it should be there. So after selecting it, this is how it looks like. In my case, I've got 2 in, 2 out. So I've got what left and right inputs 1 and 2, and my output section is also 1 and 2. What we are going to do here is to configure our input. So in this case, we are just going to add a new bass. So you click on add bass, and then make sure mono is always selected. and name it vocal. Make sure it's mono. We just need it once, so the count is only on one, and go on add bass. So after adding the bass, we have to add another bass. In my case, I like to do a guitar as well. I'm going to add another bass and name it guitar. Make sure mono is selected and just go and add bass and add it. Now we've got the bass for our guitars and then the bass for our vocals. But we have a problem here. They are all routed on the first inputs, so we have to separate them. Now what we have to do is you go on the guitars. In my case, I like my guitars to be on the second input, so I put the guitar. Just by clicking here, you select stereo in right for your guitars, and then we should be good to go. Now let's configure the output. By selecting output, we are going to see that we have your stereo out, we have our speakers is stereo, and our audio device is also selected, and that is our sound card. The name of our sound card should pop up here, and the device port is 1 and 2. 1 is for the left and 2 is for the right. Now since we've got this set up, now we can start our class.
Creating an instrument track with Helion.
We are going to learn how to create an instrument track in this section. Now by doing that, you go to the right section and then make sure that VST is selected. Click on add and you should get a pop-up like this on your screen. Now what we are going to do is we are going to look for Helion, and I believe everybody have got Helion on this Cubase. So you make sure the output is on stereo out. Don't change anything over here. Just go on Helion and go on add. After you add it, this is how the Helion looks like. It's a VST instrument, so you can play your keyboards with it. You can do a lot of things. You can use loops. You can do a lot of things with Helion, and we are going to use it in this course. To choose a tone in Helion, go up here and just click there, and then you should get a pop-up like this. Now you can do a search for the tone you are looking for. If you are looking for a hip-hop kind of thing, you can just write hip-hop, and then you're going to get some hip-hop kind of things. Yeah, so I'm just going to choose randomly. I'm just going to choose hip-hop kit 1, and then we are going to use that for our drum session.
Setting your tempo or BPM.
To choose your tempo, you just go down here and you choose your tempo here. In my case, I've chosen 160. So you double click, you just double click and type 160 and go enter, and then that's all you're fine to go.
Metronome activation.
We also have to put our metronome on so that we can be in time whilst we play. To switch your metronome on, you just go here, down here on the transport bar, and they should locate it over here. That is to activate the metronome. And C is also for metronome.
Drums recording starting with a kick.
In this section, we'd like to rename the track and name it kick. I do this because it makes the work very simple, so you can separate your kick and your snare, your hi-hats and other instrument, so that the mixing process becomes very, very simple for you yourself. Okay, so after naming it kick, you just click here and then you are good to go. So we'll be playing just the kick. Okay, so let's assume that I've played this kick. That's my kick. You just double click and then you're going to get it in the MIDI section. So we have to make sure that everything is on the grid because we are playing a 4/4 count. So it must be on the grid. So in this section, you just go here and then make sure that it's on the grid. That's very, very important. Okay, so we go and play. Okay, that's our kick. Now by just selecting and then holding this side and dragging it, you can just shorten the MIDI notes if you wish to do that. After that, you just go on Control A and select all and go on Q to quantize it, and then you should be good to go. Now the next thing we are going to do here is by clicking on the scissors over here, by clicking on the scissors, so that we can cut the beat and repeat it. So you cut the beat by just clicking on it, and then it should cut it. Now we'll be deleting this section because we don't need this section, so we are going to delete this section. And then also what we'll do is we have to cut at the right part. So after this first beat, we are going to cut this section. Apparently we are playing the same thing, so it's the same thing, so we just have to take this and take it off and just repeat this section. Control D on Windows and Command D on Mac, and then it should go like that, just like that, so the number of times you want. Okay, so let's say we want it to this section, we just go on that. Okay, so this is our kick. So we want 8 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need another bar as 8 bar. So we have to duplicate this, and then we are good to go. Now by cycling it, if you want to cycle it, just hit on P, and you should be able to cycle it. We are learning the shortcuts whilst we go. It's very, very important. It makes the work very simple, and it saves you a lot of time.
Adding our snare drum.
We are going to be adding our snare to this very kick. So by doing that, you just go here and then right click and add a MIDI track. Now you name the MIDI track, let's say our hi-hat or snare, let's say snare, we name it snare, and then just go on add. After adding, you see that it will pop up over here. Let me just close this section so you can see it very well. It pops up over here, and then choose the channel to channel 1. Later we'll be separating our tracks, so we are going to choose channel 1 so that we use the same tone for everything. So let's say this is our snare, so we want to record our snare. By clicking play and clicking record, we should be good to go. Okay, so let's assume that you're happy with this, and then it's the same process we did to the kick. We are going to do the same process by just double clicking, and then go on Control A. Make sure this MIDI section is selected. You click on it and go on Control A to select everything, and then hit Q on your keyboards. So you go on Q on your keyboards, and you should be good to go. Okay, so after you've done that, we assume that we just made a change at the latter section, so everything is okay. We are going to cut this off and then duplicate this one, and then we should be good to go. So the beat to sound like this. So it's going to repeat itself the same way until we don't need it anymore. We're going to be building it up until we get a nice song out of it. In this section, we'll be adding our hi-hat track to this very track. So you go and add MIDI track, and then type the name as hi-hat, just add track. For the purpose of this course, I would like you to select channel 1. Now we are going to play our hi-hat. Let's assume that we're happy with this hi-hat. What we have to do is just double click it. It's the same process. You select all and then quantize it, and then it should be good to go. We are going to play it and check it. If it sounds good for us, we keep it like that. Yeah, so I think it sounds okay for the purpose of this course. So I'm just going to cut this section and then select this section and delete this section. Let's go on select, make sure this is selected, Control D, the same process, and then we duplicate. So this is how the whole beat sounds. So one thing you have to keep in mind that you always have to save your project. So just by saving your projects, you go on File, hit on File, and go on Save. Remember, we created a folder for this project. So what we are going to do is to name the file. So we name it our file as Cubase lesson 1. And just go on Save, and then you should be good to go. Let's listen to the whole beat and see how it sounds. Okay, let's assume that we are satisfied with this kick and snare and then our hi-hat. What we can do is maybe do 1 or 2 percussion into it. So we're just going to add another MIDI track and just name it percussions. Just go on add track. It's the same process. Make sure the channel 1 is selected. For the purpose of this first course, I'd like you to select channel 1. While the music is playing, you can look for the tone you want on your MIDI keyboard. So let's assume that I found this shaker and I'm very, very happy with it. So I just have to start recording it by just playing and recording. Okay, so it's the same process just like we did for the other ones. It is going to cut and then duplicate it. So we can just rename this as our shaker over here. And if you want to name the whole track, maybe let's say you've done a mistake and you want to rename it, you just select everything and then go up here and name it as shaker so that everything will be organized. Okay, so let's assume that I love this section. This very section over here. Let me color it. You can color by choosing the color. You can just go up here and then this is a color button. Just choose this as green and then the color will change over here. Yeah, so you can identify certain things. So I like this section. I just don't like this ones. I have to take it off, and then by dragging it here, I can just duplicate, and then I should be good to go. It should play very well. Okay, so let's assume that we are finished with this whole percussion kind of thing. We love the way the beat is sounding and we want to move on to our guitar section.
Recording our guitars.
We would like to add an audio track. It's the same process. You just go on add audio track and then make sure your guitar is selected. So in my case, I've selected the guitar already as my audio input. And then make sure the configuration is mono. We've already done that already. So we can name our guitar here. So let's just start playing our guitars. Okay, so let's assume that we play the guitar and then we are satisfied with it. Let's just play and listen to how it sounds. Okay, so I didn't start on the right bar, so I just have to cut it. You can get the situation, and then what you have to do is to just go and cut it and make sure you start on the bar. You can just pull it here and it will start on the bar automatically. Sorry for the noise, that's my guitars. Just drop. Okay, so you start like this. Okay, so let's assume that I like this first session, so I can just click it and just duplicate it, and then we are good to go. So I can also add different guitar tracks to it, and by just going on an add, you can just go on add and then give it a different name. Let's say guitar, and just go on add. It should be good to go. Yes, so you can just save your project as well. It's very, very important. So let's just track another guitar to it and see what we can get out of it. I just made a mistake, so I would have to edit it and see what I don't like in this session. So let me just play the guitar so we listen together. Okay, so up to this session, I love this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this side. I'm just going to cut it and then duplicate just like we did, just to make this lesson very, very simple for you. So you can also try different things at home. You can just be trying and trying and trying until you get what you really want. Yeah, so I love this side. I just have to duplicate it and go just play it and listen to how it sounds. Okay, so let's assume that I love the way the guitar sounds, and I just want to do something else. In this section, I'll be talking about the mixer. We've got 3 different type of mixers in Cubase. Now there is a mixer that comes in the project window, and if you go to Studio, you could see that there are 3 different mixers. That is a mixer console, F3. That is F3 is for the first mixer console, as in the main mixer console. There is a mixer console 2, mixer console 3, and then mixer console in project window. So let's assume we are in the project window. Now when you go on this knob over here, you could see show or hide lower zone. Now, so the moment you hide lower zone, the mixer is going to go off. You can see it from your shots. The mixer is gone, and the moment you click on it, the mixer comes back. So that is a mixer in the project window. So when the Cubase talks about mixer in the project window, that is Alt plus F3. So we can go on Alt, alternative, and then F3, alternative with F3, and we should get this mixer off. So it's the same thing. It's just a shortcut for that. So that is this particular mixer. Now there's another mixer where you can just go on F3 itself, and it should pop up over here like this. That is, it's like a full screen kind of mixer thing, and it's the same thing apparently. It's the same thing, but this one has got it. So you can put it on a different screen. Should you have 2 different monitors or 3, you can put all the 3 mixers on it. Like myself, I've got 3 different monitors over here. So one of my screen is dedicated to my mixer, and the other screen is also dedicated to the project window, and I use the other ones for my plugins. So at least I can have control over my workflow. It makes things very simple when you have 2 screens or more. But if you are not fortunate, and if you happen to have only 1 screen, it's also cool. You can just use the 1 screen you have by just using the project window mixer, and then you can when you go on this knob over here, you can be switching between the insect, you can see the insect just like I saw, just like over here, just like in this shot. I can get my insect over here. It's the same thing. So when you go on, the moment you disengage F3 and then use this mixer in project window, you can also do all those switches by just tagging on this fader section and then choosing the kind of, if you want the faders alone, you can get the faders. If you want the insects also, you can get it. And then if you also want the scents also, you can get the scents also. So in this case, you can have all your effect scents over here, so you can see which kind of effect is in the scent of which channel and all that. It makes the work very, very simple. Cubase is built to make things very, very simple, and that's why I'm sticking to Cubase, because I've been using Pro Tools also. I've been using other DAW. I've been using PreSonus, and the PreSonus was okay, but now as in the current updates, Cubase is far ahead of all of them. Yeah, so it's a very, very good thing. And if you also there are different type of mixer. As I said, you can go on the studio and choose the Mixer 3, and then that one pops up over here on the different screen, you see. So as you can see, we've got 3 different mixers. This very one here, and then this one also over here in your shot, this particular mixer, this mixer, and then I can also go on F3 and get another mixer over here. Sorry, the Mixer 3 is this particular section, this small mixer. Yeah, so that is what the mixer does. And you can just, if you happen to have just one screen, you can just be using the screen, and you should be good to go. Let's say you want to apply effects, and so by going to the edit channel settings, and one thing about Cubase is the moment you hover, you can also read what it says, and also understand it in your own way. So you just click on the E button over here, and this is where we put our effect scent. So I've already routed an effect scent, and that is the reverb. For demonstration sake, I like to add a reverb by just clicking on this knob. You can see that there's a reverb on the guitar. Just listen to it. I'm taking it out. There's no reverb now with a reverb. Now the point is, you don't have to put a lot of reverb as into this. I just want you to feel the reverb, especially for beginners, those who really don't understand reverbs and all that. So those are some of the effects we use in production, and I think it's a very positive thing as well.
Recording our MIDI electric piano.
So I just want to do a keyboard under it, and let's see how that goes. Also, make sure you locate VST instrument over here and just go on add new. And in this case, I'd like to choose Helion Sonic. Yeah, so I'm adding just one instance. That is, the count is only one. So you go on add, and then you should get Helion. In this case, we'd like to choose a different tone for our Helion. We like E piano. Make sure you click this section, and then you can search piano over there. In my case, I already have it here. So I just have to select E piano, electric piano over here in your shots. Just have to select electric piano, and then it should sound nice. Okay, so let's just try some piano fill and see how the music sounds. Okay, so let's assume that I like the piano I just did, and then so I like to edit it and see what is not good. I would have to cut it just like we did for the other sections. Yeah, so let's just go straight into the MIDI and play it from top and listen it as well.
So there are a lot of things you can be adding up, to make the song very nice. In this course, you're going to learn a lot of things, and this is just the beginning of the course. And I hope you guys are really enjoying it. Wow, I think the session is getting very, very sweet and nice. This is the first lesson, and the subsequent lesson is just going to be sweet. So thanks a lot for joining me, and see you in the next class. Hello and welcome to lesson 2. In this lesson, we'll be learning the shortcuts in Cubase. Now on the keyboard, 1 is for object selection, 2 is for range selection, and 3 is for the scissors, and 4 is for the glue, and 5 is for the eraser. Now on the object selection, we've got 3 different types of object selection. So the moment you press on 1 once, you're going to get a normal object selection, that is what we are going in for. The moment you press it 2 times, you get a different one, and we are not going in for that one in this lesson, but we may need it in the future. And then when you press on it on 1 3 times, you should get this very one, which is the simple apply time stretch. That's not where we're going. If you're going in for the normal sizing, so make sure you select normal sizing by just pressing on 1 once. If you don't get it right, you can just keep pressing until the icon shows like cursor over here. The drawing tool is used to draw events. So let's assume that I've got my MIDI over here. I can just draw this section, and by selecting the selecting tool, I'll double click it and then plot my instrument. Let's say if I want this tone, I can just plot it over here, plot it over there, plot it over there, depending on what you're going in for. So let's say it's going to play something like this, so you can just use the drawing tool to draw the MIDI as well. Yes, we've got the same tool over here. We've got the drawing tool over here, and we've got it over here. So take note, this drawing tool works only for the MIDI section, and then this particular drawing tool over here, works for the project section. So you have to take that into consideration. So you can use it to draw whatever you want to draw over there. Now, in the subsequent lessons, I'm just going to explain deep into it. Now, the eraser tool is used to erase events. So let's assume that we want to erase this particular section of our work. By just clicking on it, it is gone. And that is what we use the eraser tool for. You can use it to delete a lot of things, range of things. Just use the eraser, select a range of things, and use it to delete it. That is what the eraser tool is used for. Now the split tool is used for splitting, or you can also call it the scissors tool. So you can cut a portion of the MIDI with it. I explained that in lesson 1, so I won't go deep into it. Now you click on the glue tool, and then you can use a glue tool to put 2 events together. So if I want to put these 2 audio tracks together, I just make sure that they are selected, and then I just click the middle, and they should be together. So you can see that it has become one file. I can just delete once and then it's gone. So that is what you use a glue tool to put things together. Mute is also used to mute a section. To mute is like to silence the whole section or the MIDI or the audio note. So you can just select a range of audio or MIDI and just apply it on it, and then it's muted, so you can hear that the hi-hat wouldn't play at this section. So we are not hearing the hi-hat. So that's what it's used for. You can use this for audio. You can mute the audio so that you don't hear the guitar section from this side. Yeah, and so on and so forth. In this section, we'll be talking about the zoom in and out. Now, the shortcuts for zoom in and out is G and H. So you zoom in, you zoom out by apply G, and then you zoom in with H. That goes very fast. So you can just zoom in and out with G and H. There is an important shortcut over here, and that is the snap shortcut. J is for that. You use J to turn it off and on. So always make sure that you use J, because the moment it gets off, you are just going to get into trouble. Sometimes your MIDI and audio wouldn't fall at the right places, as in they will not be on the grid. On the numeric keyboard, we've got the shortcuts 1 to start the events, as in to start from scratch, or to start from 0, or to start from top. You can just go on 1, and the moment you hit play, the song will start playing from where you have selected. So let me just demonstrate that by pressing on 1 and then playing. Now you have to take into consideration that you would have to loop where this functions will apply. So let's assume that I've already looped this section, as you can see from the grid 17 to grid 57. I've already looped that by pressing P. I think when you select, you use the object selection tool, you select this section and then you hit on P, as we learned in our previous lesson. P is for loop. So I've already looped that, and then the moment I want to play from the start, I just go on 1 and I press play. And remember, play is also the space bar. Just press on the star and you should be good to record. Remember to always save your project by just going on Ctrl S. You should save your project.
Demonstration and conclusion.
In this section, I'm just going to demonstrate how to use the shortcuts and the tools as well. So let's assume I'm already on the split. I've got a split over here, and then I want to select this section of the project. I just hit 1 and I'm already there. I select it. I want to mute this section, so I just go on 7 and then I just apply it on it, and then you can see that from the beginning the hi-hat wouldn't play over there. Now you can also decide to mute the shakers as well, and to just start with the guitars, you can also mute. Let's say I want to cut the Halion over here. I just want to cut the session up to this place. Yeah. And then mute the section. So I just mute it over here. So I can just hear the guitars alone playing from the beginning of the song. Let's say I want to play from here. So I play from there. So I don't need this hi-hat. I just mute it, so I go. So this is how you arrange your songs, so things you don't need, you just mute them. Those you need, you allow them to play, and that is how you use it. So to make everything very fast, you just moving in your object selection to your range. I want to select this range and loop it. Just select this range and just go on P. Automatically it loops. If you want to play from the start of the music of the loop, if you want to start from the loop, you just hit the 1 on the numeric keyboard and then you go and play, and then you're good to go. You zoom in and out. If you want to work on this section, you come here. I want to select this range. I select this range and just go on P. The moment you select, you already moved over there. So you jump there. So let's say I'm playing over here. I select this section. I go on P. And then I go on 1. I'm good to go. So the moment it's playing, and then you select this range and you go on P, you just go on 1. You move to that section. So if you have your cross section at this section, it's very, very simple to work on. If you have your verse over there, it's very, very simple to work on. Yeah. So I'll be demonstrating that with a project so that you guys could see how it works.
Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next class. Hello and welcome to Lesson 3. Lesson 3 consists of the bass guitar arrangement of our tracks and many more coming up. In this section, we'll have to create our MIDI track for the bass guitar. I hope you know how to do it already. I just don't have to, show you everything. Yeah, I think you know how to do that. So you just right click on this section and then we add our MIDI track, and let's name it our bass guitar. So we'll be naming it bass, just our track. And we have to make sure that we select channel 2 for this. Yeah, in this case, because we like to bring our bass on the channel 2 over here. So make sure this channel, this section, make sure channel 2 is selected. It's very, very important for the bass. Other than that, if you select channel 1, you hear that the E piano is going to play because that is routed to channel 1. So take that into consideration. We are selecting channel 2 over here. Okay, make sure the channel 2 is highlighted just like this, and then by going to this section you can just search for the bass you're looking for over here. So I just ran a random search as bass, and I got these options. So I want to use electric bass finger, and that is what I'm going in for. So you double click on it and you're good to go. After playing the bass, we'll have to edit our bass to make sure that everything is sounding very well. So what I did was you can see from this section, it was previously on the 3rd bar. I brought it back here so that we are going to have our pre-count. The pre-count means it's going to go like 1, 2, 3, 4 exactly, so that it falls on the bar. Yeah, and by doing that, it's going to make the work very simple for you, and I think you'll be on time as well. Yeah, either than that, you just jump into playing it and you'd have to shift everything backwards, and that isn't good for us. Okay, so let's jump straight into the MIDI section. We just have to double click on the bass guitar over here, and then we are straight into the MIDI. So these are our editing tools. In the previous lessons, lesson 2, we learned everything about it, so we are just going to apply it over here. So what I'd like to do first is to select all, that's Control A, and then just go on cue to quantize it and play it and listen to it and see if there is a mistake somewhere. We just have to fix it. So let's go. So I realized that I was playing the 7th of this note, and that was the start of the 7th, and probably maybe I can decide to play the 8th note. That's the 8th note. So let me just go one step ahead, you know, by just using the arrow key on your keyboard. You can just go up and down, you know, make sure it's selected, and then I want the 8th note, yeah, the high octave. So let me hear it and see. And one thing about bass guitar also is that you always have to make sure that the notes that are too long, you cut them. Either than that, is going to make your mix very muddy. Okay, I think that sounds good here. From here. Okay, so this section I realized that the two of them were playing at the same time, so I just don't like that. So you just hold this side, and then you cut the length of the MIDI notes. As you can see in your shot, some of the notes are very low, some are high, and that is the velocity section. We'll have to make sure that all the volumes are equal, as in the whole volume is equal, so that we don't get up and downs in our bass. Once again, you click Control A, everything is selected, and then you can hold Command or Control on your keyboard, and then go on the function. You right click to function, and then we just locate fixed velocity over here. Fixed velocity, and you see that everything is fixed now. All the levels are equal now, as you can see from your shot over here. Yeah, so the levels are equal, and then it's going to help us really hear all the notes. So the bad ones, we can just fetch them out. As you can see in your shot, I'm trying to cut the right place so that I'll be able to double it. I presume you know this already, so I don't have to, you know, waste our time on this. So this is my cuts. I just have to cut over here. Take this one out. So that is the middle of the whole 8 bar over here. So this is the 4 bar. You can just take this section out, just select it, make sure selected, and then you duplicate. That is our bass for this session. Chord pad in Cubase. In this lesson, I'm just going to show you how to use the chord pads, especially for our friends who don't know how to play the keyboards. These chord pads are just going to help you plot your chords, you know, by just using the mouse and just clicking on it. The moment you click, it plays the chord, so it's just going to make everything very simple. Now what I'm using here is I'm using a synth, and then I took that from the Helion Sonic. You just have to click on the Helion Sonic and make sure you select channel 4. It's very, very important. You choose channel 4. Just go here, and then you search for the pad you are going to use. So in my case, I just selected the pad 3, the polysynth. Yeah, that's what I'm using over here. And remember, the channel should always be on channel 4. It's very, very important over here. Yeah, make sure channel 4 is selected. So in this case, we are just going to be using the C major chord over here. Even though I'm playing a major 7th, I'll just do the C major chord for the purpose of this lesson, and for our friends who don't really understand or who don't know how to play the keyboard. That's the main reason why I'm doing this. So we are just going to build the polysynth under our whole session, and it's not going to cause any problem over there. We are doing a minor 7, but we just do a normal natural minor, and I think we should be good to go. Now this is how you locate the chord part. So let's assume that you've already selected your synth, you've chosen Helion, and your channel is already set to channel 4. Come down here. You see there is a mixer over here, there's an editor here, there's a sample control, and there's a chord part. So this is where you find your chord part. You just click on chord part, and you're already in there. Yeah. So let's just start to record our synth. On your MIDI keyboard, you could see the C1. Those who know how to play the keyboard, or if you've got MIDI routed, locate the C1, that is the very low C, and you're going to get a chords over there. This one is assigned to this very one. So you can use your keyboard to play the notes as well, you know. So in my case, I'm just going to use a keyboard, but you can use a mouse. Just we are playing this. So you can be watching on the screen as well, and also use your mouse to click on the chords you are playing, and you should get it rolling. Yeah, so you just record and start playing. So let's go. Okay, so let's assume that I just played it and I love it, and I'm okay with this. So what you're going to do, you can also be playing it one by one. You can just play the first chord with the mouse and then record it, and also come back to the second one gradually. You can also do it step by step, so you don't have to record everything once. What you have to do is you just record on top of it, and you should be good to go. Okay, so I played it with a keyboard, and I think I love this. So we have to just edit it by double clicking. We get into the MIDI section and then edit it over here. So we also like to bring the level down over here. So let's just bring it down a little bit so it fits in the mix. In this section, I would like to add some cello. So what I did was the same process, just as we did. I just created a MIDI track. Let me just name it cello, and then just make sure that in this section you choose the Helion Sonic MIDI, and the output should be on number 5. So we added the E piano, electric bass, and then the electric bass ring also for our 3, I think, and then the 4th one was a polysynth, and then we are going on the cello. The cello is our 5th one, so we are on channel 5 over here, so it should be the same as this channel. Take that into consideration. Channel 5 here, channel 5 over here should be the same as channel 5 over here. Yeah, so we are choosing the cello here. I think you know how to do that. You just go here and then you run the search for cello. Any instrument you want, just run the search over here, type it over there and enter, and then you should get it. So I chose cello, and I'm good to go. Yeah, so let's just get started with it. So I like to edit this section and then actually what is not good, I just take it out. So let's just listen together whilst we edit. Okay, so you see this small note over here, this very blue one, this small note over here. I don't need it, so I just have to take it off. Just click on it and delete it, and you know, especially this long note, we can just cut it a little bit, you know. Yeah, so that is it. So there are things you can just be correcting in the MIDI section. Some of the things that's in the queue can't do it, so you have to do it yourself manually. Yeah, that is the MIDI work. So let me just play it again and see how it sounds. I think there's a problem over there. So yeah, so I just straight this a little bit. Okay, this is a velocity you can just increase by just clicking here on the top, you know. You can bring it down just clicking anywhere. Yeah, you can see how it works. Yeah, so that's how you edit your MIDI. That's how you edit it. And then we are just going to choose 1/16 over here from this section, because that is what we need for this very MIDI section to keep things very, very simple. Yeah, we can also do a transposition of the keys itself. Yeah, so that's also very simple on the MIDI section. You can also do that, and then the velocity also you can change it. So these are the things, and there are a lot of things as well in the MIDI section, but we wouldn't be going to that for now. Okay, so let's go. See. Yeah. So this is a wrong note, so I just pull it down. So that is how you edit your MIDI. It's very, very simple, and I think you guys understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just move straight to the next instrument. So I also like to mute some section of it. I don't like the way it just comes in with the bass and everything. So I'm just going to mute from the kick to like the snare and the hi-hats. Let me just mute this section and probably introduce the guitar here. So this is how it goes. Okay, so I don't like the EP. I just mute the EP as well. Mute my bass also. Then just leave maybe the shakers to start with the second line, you know, so it goes like. Okay, so the next bar, I just introduce those ones. Unmute it, you know, I'm just using the mute tool for everything. So you just mute and unmute where you don't want, where you want, you allow them to play. So it goes like from this side to this way. To come, just mute the bass and introduce a kick, you know. So you're just introducing everything gradually and then building the song. So I'm just using the cutting tool to cut this section of the snare. This is the snare I'm working on now. I just want to cut here and mute it at this section. Yeah, and then also mute these people over here. So it's like a whole build up. Start from here. Okay. Actually, it's very, very long. It's very, as in the introduction and everything is very long, but it depends on the groove of the song. Every song is different. The dynamics is different. So let's assume that this is well for demonstration's sake. This is what we want, and we just go for that. So let's go. you can you realize that the cello is out from this section. I've got my bass and the synth, everything playing, so the whole song is playing. So we can do a crash, we can do a roll, you know, to introduce this section of the beat. So let me just color this section so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. So this section of the beat, you're just going to give it green, color green. Let's assume that we would like to add some loops to it. You know, let's assume that you've got some loops you want to work around with in your mix. So what you have to do first is you go on the media section over here. In your short, you can see the media over here, and then just locate the loop and drum section. So I'm just going to choose this loop and drum section, and let me just make sure. Yeah, and then I'm going to choose this loop. Yeah, I found this loop very nice, and I love it. So you can just play it over here. You can stop it, but make sure this knob autoplay new result selection is selected, so that the moment you click on it, you can hear the sound. You can go through the sound, you know, to choose what you like. But at the moment, I like this one, and I'm going to go with this one. What I'm going to do now is to just select this one over here, and the moment you select it, it creates its own audio track. So you can just leave it like this, and I'm just going to move it to the intro of the song. I want to start playing it from here. So you can even forget about the drums we did for this, for demonstration sake. You can even say, okay, let's just mute these drums. We're going to mute everything over here. Let's say we're just muting everything over here, and just leaving the shakers and probably the guitars, you know, and the synth and the velo as well, and the cello as well. So we are just going to play this loop. Let's play and listen to it and see how it sounds over here. So the moment you click play, it plays right from this section and plays also in the project. So we'd have to get out from here by just going back here, over here in your shot, just clicking on back, and then the moment you add back, you know, you can just go and play it. Now if you're asking how I located this place, you can just, when you're on the VST section, you go on media, and then when you go on media, you should come to a place like this. So we just choose loop and samples, and when you choose loop and sample, you go on the drum loops, and then it should take you to the drum loops selection of drum loops. So here you can choose whatever loops you want to use. So we've already chosen our loop, and to go with that, I would just like to play it so that you guys will have a feel of it. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I can just duplicate it and repeat it. We can even forget the main drums we did. That was for demonstration sake, and even use a loop. You know, if you find some loop that is nice, you can just loop it over and over, and then you're good to go. So, you know, the arrangement depends on yourself. Let's just loop it over and over and see how it sounds from this section. So I can just go on and just mute everything over here, you know, mute everything here, and then just allow, you know, the flow of the loop over here. So we just select on the loop and just duplicate the loop throughout the whole song. In this session, we would like to add some effects, just like some cymbals or something like that, to introduce a song and also bring some difference in the dynamics. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Groove Agent for that. I just went to VST, add, and then I added Groove Agent. You can select Groove Agent by going to drums. You get it over here, that is Groove Agent. Yeah, and then I just added it. Yeah, I've already added it, so yeah. So if you go inside Groove Agent, you can select your tone by just going up here and running the search. You can go through it and play it to find out what you're looking for. But in my case, I'm looking for the chart breaker. So that is what I chose, and that is what we are going to use for our dynamic section, as in to bring some kind of dynamics into the song. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through it by searching it on the keyboard, or you can also go use your mouse to search for what you're looking for. I'm just going to introduce a song with a sweep by using Groove Agent. And in your shot, you can see that this is Groove Agent over here, and that is the sweep. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to use to introduce a song. Okay, so you have to record it on the track. Make sure the Groove Agent track is selected, and then you record it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so that's what I want. I just record this simple thing, and then I just have to go. It's just one note. Just go inside and then make sure it's on the bar just like I wanted. So I shift it over here and then that's it. Okay, so let me play a C. Okay, I think I have to move it a little bit forward. So you just have to be trying and trying and trying until you really get what you want. So that's how production is. Okay, so I realize the tail is very long. So what we can do here is go inside Groove Agent over here. In this session, we are just going to edit our wave, as in the sweep, by just hovering on this section until you get this arrow, set sample start. So we are going to click and hold it and drag it to the start point here. Yeah, because it delays a little bit, so you have to do it, work around it until you really get what you want. So let me play from start and see how it sounds. Okay, I realize that it's very fast at the end. So what I'm going to do here is the end section also. I'm going to do the same thing over there. Just pull it forward. And this section is used to fade out. So I will just fade out a little bit. So I'll fade out this section. And this section also I hold here and also fade in, sorry. Set faders in. Yeah, so I fade in a little bit over here. And let's see how it sounds. Okay, I think I still have to come a little bit forward, just a little bit, and let's see how it sounds. Exactly, so it falls on the bar. That's what I want, and this is what I'm going for. So that's how you use Groove Agent. You can use it to play your drums as well. You can use it for a lot of things. So this is one of the things you can use Groove Agent for.
Thanks for watching, and see you in the next class. Hello and welcome to lesson 4. In this lesson, we will be learning how to create our folder tracks in Cubase.
Hello and welcome. In this section, I'm just going to take you through how to really organize your session. Let's assume that we are just going to put all our drums into one particular folder. So in this case, we are creating folders for each group of instruments. So let's assume that we've got our drums, as in we've got a kick over here. We've got a snare, we've got a hi-hat, we have our shakers. These are all drum instruments. We are just going to create a folder for all these instruments. So what to do that, you just go here to add the folder track, make sure that one of the track is selected. And what we are going to do over here is just right click and go on add tracks. And then here you just look for, search for folder. You just select folder, and you see that the folder is going to pop up here. So what we are going to do over here
is just to name our folder. So let's assume that we are going to name it as our drums folder, and just go on add. So you see the drums folder over here. Now the next step, I like to put it up here so that I can see that, okay, this is my drum, this is my loop, this is a kick, this is a snare, this is a hi-hat and shaker and so forth. So what I'm going to do is you just hold on shift and select this drums. Make sure that you hold on shift and select the last one, that is a shaker, and then also still holding on shift, select the drums as in the very first one. So these are the instruments we will be putting in this particular folder. As you can see over here, this is our drum folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to release the shift, and this time around drag all these files and just put them in this drum folder. If you see something like this red line, that means the files wouldn't go, the tracks wouldn't go into the folder. So make sure that you see this green line and then just release it over there. The moment you release it, you've got all your drums in one particular folder. Now to make things simple, I'll just have to, when I close this folder, that is my drums, you can see that it tidies the work, it makes everything very simple and well organized. So let's assume that if you want to open your drum folder, you just click on this section and it is opened. And if you also want to keep it simple, you just close it up by clicking this section on the folder, and you're just going to get everything closed. So this keeps your work very, very organized. Now I'm going to do that for the guitars and the other things as well. In this section, I'm just going to create a folder track for the guitars. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click here, the same process, just go on add, and then you look for folder over here and then name it as a guitar folder, and just go on add. Yes, so this is our guitar folder. Yes, that's our guitar folder over here. So we are going to move our guitars into this particular folder. So let me just bring the folder up so that we can have the two guitars over here. So you hold on shift, you click the last one, you hold on shift, you click the first one, and then you drag it. Make sure the green line, as in the green arrow key, left arrow key, is showing. That means it is getting into the folder. You just release it in, and then you have your guitars in the folder. So that's, we are doing the same thing for the piano as well. Now for the piano session, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to label it as keys, as in keyboards. So everything on my keyboards excluding the bass. So I'm just going to bring the bass to the last, probably this section of my tracks. Yes, so I have my pianos and then synth and cello over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a new instance of a folder, that is a new folder, and I'm just going to name this folder as my keyboards, sorry, keyboards as in with Y, keyboards, yeah, yes. And what I'm going to do is I'm moving it up here. I'm just going to select the cello, holding shift, and also select this piano over here. Make sure everything is selected on this track. Just move them into keyboards, and you have our keyboards over here. Now we can also do so many cool things with it. We can also change the color of it, of the track. Let's assume if you want to change the color of the group, you can do that. Let me go for this color, this purple kind of color for this particular groups. You can break the folder down and also change the colors of the project over here, but I'm not going to be doing that here. Yeah, so this is, you see the workflow is very simple. So it has made everything very, very simple for us. So this is our drum rolls. We also have to move it into our drum section. So I'm just moving it up here and just releasing it in this particular drum folder, and then we are good to go. Yes, and this is our sweep. We can decide to also add our sweep to our keyboards and add this last synth also to our keyboards. After adding the drums group, the next thing we are going to do is to route our FX, that is our short reverb and our delay. Now I'm going to use the reverb on the snare drum over here. So what we are going to do is to route our FX send for reverb. So with the same process, you just right click this section and just go on add, add track and locate FX, that is effect. So you just go on effect, and in this instance, let's do our delay first. So then we just look for mono delay. That's what I chose. You just select mono delay, and you should have it in your Cubase automatically. The configuration should be on stereo. The output should be on stereo. We've got options to choose different outputs, but we are going to leave it as stereo for now. For the purpose of this lesson, keep it as stereo. And the folder setup outside, create outside folder. So to make sure that it is create outside folder, and just name it as delay. Just click on add track. In this session, I'm just going to show you how to route your output using Helion, or multiple outputs using any other VST instrument. I did this intentionally because I want you guys to learn how to route your outputs in Cubase. Now let's start with our drums. So if you could realize, we played the first kick, the very first kick, we played it with Helion Sonic. So if you click on this edit VST or edit instrument, you can see that this is we got one hip hop kit, the same as in apparently the same kit for the same tone for all our 5 channels. These are channels. This is channel 1, channel 2. You can see that it's labeled over here up to channel 16. Click on the channel 1 and navigate to this section, and that is where you can see that is output. Now channel 1 is sent to main, so let's keep channel 1 to main. The main is the same as the first output, so let's just keep our channel 1 to main. We are just going to align everything. Channel 1 is going to be the main, it's the same as channel 1, and channel 2 is going to output 2. Channel 3 will be going to output 3. Channel 4 will also be going to output 4, and channel 5 will be going to output 5. Let's assume that we've routed our output over here. Now there's another thing we have to do. If you check on this section, if you can find the VST and media bay here, you just click on this section and show or hide right zone, and you could see everything on the right zone. Okay, so the moment you click on a track, the VST instrument associated to it will also be highlighted over here. So let's say we are on our kick. So the moment this is highlighted, you just go on kick at this section. That's the input and output options. So you just click here and go to activate output. So you activate your output, and the moment it is white this way, that means that it is activated. So what I did was I activated 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because that's what we are using. If you want to activate, this is a set one. I'm just demonstrating it for you guys to have a feel of it. So you just click on it this way, and it's activated. The moment you turn it off, it is deactivated. So you activate 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is how you activate your output for the VST instrument. Let's activate output 6 so that you guys can see how it is done. So you just go and activate output 6. You can see that there's another channel here. That is the Helion Sonic output 6. The moment you put it off, just pay attention to this channel. It is going to go off. So the moment I put it off this way, it is gone. We don't have the HSSE output 6. We don't have it. When you activate it, you're just going to have it here again. The moment you deactivate it, you're just going to have it out. So what I did was for the first output, which is the kick, you can see this is a kick. Let me try and deactivate it. Okay, the first output is not I cannot deactivate the first output. But what I did was I just renamed the tracks, the outputs. So you can just double click the section and name it kick. If the first one is a kick, the second one, you can also double click and name it the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and so on and so forth. Output 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These outputs, that is for our drums. So take that into consideration. That is how Cubase works. It's a little bit complicated sometimes, but I hope you guys understand me and you get me right. You can send all your questions to me through the message section, and I'm just going to respond. If you have any questions, if you don't understand certain things, if you want certain clarification, I'm always here to help you guys. In this session, we are just going to create multiple outputs for our keyboards section. Now, you just go on the VST and try and open the VST instrument, and as you did for our drums, the moment we select on one of the tracks, that is the E piano, the corresponding VST channel will also pop up over here. So that the corresponding VST instrument will also pop up over here. So this is the instrument we used, and that is the Helion Sonic. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to route multiple outputs. So make sure that the GM electric piano, that was the electric piano, is on main output 1. The channel 2 should also be on output 2. Then channel 3 was empty, so we are not going to choose anything for it. We'll leave it at main, or you can choose 3 for it. That is your choice. And then channel 4, I chose the part for it, and then we are going to use it as channel 4. Cello also is here. Channel 5. Channel 6 is our robotic voice. Make sure the output is on 6. And this, so on and so forth up to the last section. The polysynth is on 8. The output is also on 8. The channel here, the aged suitcase, is on channel 9. Make sure the output is on output 9. So it goes in that sequence. Now I'm doing this. You can change the sequence, but the point is it makes the work very simple. And 1 is equal to 1, and channel 2 is also equal to channel 2, and it's very, very simple. It makes your workflow very simple. So let's assume that now the moment you route your output, don't forget to activate the output here, because if you don't activate it wouldn't work. So you click on this knob and go and activate output. It's very, very important. So make sure that you can also go on selecting all outputs, and with that one, it's a little bit, it gives you a lot of tracks you don't need. So I prefer you choose what you are using at the moment. So I've activated this. E piano is activated. E piano output 2 is also activated. The bass is also activated. So these are all my output section up to the output 9. Yes, you can see output 9 is activated. That is output 9. So let me just try and deactivate output 9 so that you can see how it works. When I deactivate it, you can see that output 9 is no more. It used to be between the E piano D and then output 8 over here. So let me activate it so you can see it. You can see it just came back again. So you can also try to play different instruments. This is our bass. The bass starts from this section, so you can see. So we are preparing the track for our mixing section, and that's why we are doing all these things. Yes, so if you want to play the polysynth, you can just solo it. Let me just solo only the polysynth so that you guys can hear only. I'm just soloing only the polysynth. Okay, so this is our cello. The cello starts from the beginning of the song. I'm just soloing only the cello so you guys can hear. Yeah, so that's how the cello sounds, and this is how we are going to mix our tracks in the mixer section. So I'm just introducing you to the mixer section as well. In this section, I'm just going to take you through how to group your tracks. Now, the first thing we did was folder, as in putting our tracks into folder, just like this. But this is also called a group. With a folder, you can apply effects, you can't do anything to the folder track. But with a group track or the bars in Pro Tools, it is called the bars. In other DAW like PreSonus is called the bars. So we are just going to create a bars or a group track. In Cubase, it is called a group track.
So we are going to create a group track for our guitar section. Now to do that, you just make sure that the guitar track is selected, or you can select the folder track and just go on add track and then choose group track. The moment you choose group track, you could see there is a stereo, there is stereo out configuration. Make sure that the configuration is on stereo. The audio output should be on output, and the folder setup, we want to create it outside the folder so that we are going to have a whole track for it. You can be able to automate the whole guitar in this particular group. So we are choosing the folder setup at create outside folder. So that is what we are going to choose. So let's name this as our guitar group main. Just go and add. So the moment you add, you can see that it has come over here. Now this is our guitar, and it is going through I've already created one. That is the guitar group I created, but what we did now is the guitar group main. So I'm just demonstrating what I did. Now at this section, we are trying to bring all our guitars into one particular track where we can add effects at once, so we don't have to put multiple effects on different tracks. So just like one track, we put our effect, everything on one track, and it's going to automatically affect all the guitars that are routed on that particular track. So that is what we are going to do now. Now to do that, you have to make sure that the output, this is the input and this is your output. When you select a track, this is your input section and this is your output section. So output and routing, yeah. So you select on output and make sure that it's going through the guitar group. I've already created one, so we are going to choose this. What we created was a guitar group main, so we are choosing this as a guitar group. And then you go to the second track, the lead guitar, and also choose the same thing as your guitar group. You come to the section groups, choose guitar groups. Okay, so this is our guitar group, and we should have it pop up somewhere here. So the first one, this is the guitar groups we have over here. Yes, this is our guitar main. Don't forget, this is what we created, but in this instance we are going to use this very one over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guitar group up here so that you guys can see how it works. So let me just try and bring it up here on top of the guitar main. So one cool thing we can also do is you can route this guitar group into the guitar main, and that is why we created a guitar group main. So we are putting this guitar group into guitar group main, meaning that this guitar group is going to play through the guitar group main, and from the guitar group main it is going straight into our output, and that's what we are going to be hearing. So it's just like we are going through 3 different channels before we come out. I hope it makes sense over there. Okay, so this is our guitar group, and with a group track you've got cool things you can do to it. In the previous lesson I showed you how to create your FX track. So the FX track is what we created over here. We've got our short delay, we've got our short reverb, and then we've got our delay over here as well. In this section, I also like to create a group track for the whole drum folder. So what I'm going to do is I just select on the drum, this whole folder. You know, we created a folder for it. Our drums are within the folder. So we just go on add and just go on add group. Yes. So this group, we make sure that it's create outside folder. You know, the folder setup is create outside folder. So we are just going to name it as our drums group to keep things very simple. We are just preparing ourselves for the mix. Just go on drums group. In Pro Tools and other DAWs call it bass, so you can just name it as drum group or bass, or anyhow you name it. So you just go and add, and this is our drum group. It's also over here. So we can do so many cool things with a group track. You know, we can automate it, as in change the levels, pan it left and right. You know, there are a lot of cool things you can do with especially that's why it's good to group your tracks and send them to different buses. So in other DAWs called bus, yes. So that's what we are doing over here. So this is our drum group. This is our drum group over here. And when you open it, you can add cool effects, you can compress, you can do a lot of cool things with it. The next thing is our instrument as well. This is our keyboards. So we are just going to create one group also for all the keyboards. All the keyboards, we are putting them into one group. Everything that is playing keyboard, we are putting everything into just one group. So let me just do that for this one as well. What we are going to do here is just go on add and go to add group and name it maybe keyboard group. Remember, the group is different from the folder. Keyboards group. Just go and add. Yes. So what we are going to do is we are going to highlight on our keyboard folder. Where do we have our keyboard folder? This is our keyboard folder. This is our keyboards. Everything keyboards is here. So we are just going to go one by one. We are going to the E piano over here. In this section, we are just going to try to mix our loop, as in the whole drum mix. We are doing our drum mix at this moment. Now, I'd like to start with the loop first, and then what we are going to do is you just go on the loop, and we are just going to look for a compressor over here. Now, before we do that, let me just play the loop without anything for you to have a feel of it. In the mixing section, mostly the vocal is on top, followed by the drums and the other instrument as well. So what we are going to do now is just go straight, and since the loop is a heavy part of our song, we're just going to focus on the loop for now and then apply just compression, because I love the way it's sounding at the moment. Remember that we don't have to put every plugin we have on a sound to make it great. So what we are going to do now is just look for a compressor and apply it on this loop. So by doing that, you just go on the edit channel button over here. Make sure the loop is chosen. The reason why I'm doing that is because I've got it's a stereo out. I don't have to route it anywhere. So you can just go on the loop. That is a 100 drum loop. Is the same channel over here on the mixer. You just go on edit over here, and we are going to look for a compressor. Now I'm choosing this particular compressor. It is a Cubase default compressor, and I believe everybody have got this compressor. Now we are going to look for tighter drum loops. We are starting with the presets because it's the best way to start your mix. Is the best way to start your mix. Now the moment you apply the preset, you can adjust things to make it sound great. So let's just apply it and see how it sounds after applying the compressor to it. You double click, make sure it's selected, and then that's all. Let's just play the sound and see and listen to how it sounds with the compressor. You can see that most of the low end is more compressed, especially the kick. Where the kick comes in, you can see that there's something that holds it. You know, that is how the compressor works. I just want to make the compressor very, very simple for you guys. And I believe this course is purposely for beginners, so I don't really have to go into a lot of things as in how things work and all that. I just want you to get it started, and as time goes on, you're just going to understand how things work. Okay, just have a feel of how the compressor is attacking the drum, and the release as well as the threshold on this particular compressor. So now we are doing a threshold of negative 18.4 dB. That's our threshold over here. You can see our release is like 134 microseconds, and we've got an attack of 4.5
a millisecond, sorry, and a ratio of probably 3:1. Yes, in a different course I'm just going to explain what a compressor does and all that. This is just a beginner's tutorial to get you going and to get you kick started with your music production career. Yes, so we've chosen our tight drum loops as our preset, and what I'd like you to do here is we are just going to make some few tweaks. You can see there's a dry signal over here. What the dry signal does is, the dry signal and the wet signal is the signal with the compressor on it or with the effects on it, and the dry signal is just as dry as it sounds, like there's nothing on it. So we have the option to blend our raw loop with our processed loop. Now we've processed our loop with a compressor, so we have the option over here to add our raw loop, that is a dry signal, to the processed one over here. So I'd like us to push it up a little bit and listen to the changes. So what I'm doing over here is I just brought the main level out, sorry, a little bit down. That is the output of the kick, and that's what I'm doing over here. And I'm trying to bring in the dry signal a little bit so that I have that kind of heavy punch in the loop. I don't like it to be more compressed, you know. And probably I'll just bring the threshold a little bit down to around -22.1 for this particular loop, and I'll keep my dry mix around 40%. You know, with the mix process, there is nothing perfect, you understand. You always have to go through. Sometimes you can do something and come back and see that, okay, I would like to change this. There is no one way to mixing. Yes, let me just put it that way. So there are a lot of things you have to explore yourself, and then if it sounds well, I mix with my ears most of the times. I don't really always mix with a spectrometer or the spectrum analyzer. It is very useful. I use it, but I mix with my ear, and what you hear is what is going out there. That is my final word. Okay, so I'm settling at a signal of, let's say, 6% of the dry signal, and I'm just going to leave everything just as it is. And let me just push my threshold a little bit higher to like 18.5. 0.5.8. It's okay. Negative 18.8. It sounds great for me. For now, I think I love the way the loop is sounded. I just have to push the main output, as in the main level, a little bit up, and that is it. That is it over here. So let me just play it and listen to it. So I just added a little bit of probably negative, a little bit of a level to it. That's what I'm doing over here. Yes. So we are currently around -4.31 on the channel volume of the loop. So I just push it up a little bit, and I think I'm just going to leave it this way. Now in the mixing process also, one thing we have to take into consideration is that we always have to set to the 0 mark over here. Now I'm running automation on it, that's why it's not moving, but let me just disable the automation and then just go on 0. Make sure that it's on 0 over here, and we always have to leave probably -6 dB of headroom for our mastering between this 5 and 0. Just around the side is okay, so that we have a little bit of headroom for mastering. So what we are going to do is to bring everything down. We are bringing all the instrument, the levels of the instrument down. We are bringing everything down so that we can have our instrument and everything, and also be able to have our -6 dB of headroom. It's very, very important, especially for the mastering stage. So that's what we are going to do in the mixing. For the production and the recording stage, that one you can increase some levels to hear it, especially if you want to monitor yourself or something like that. You can monitor yourself. After you finish, you just bring everything down. But in the mixing stage, make sure that your main output, which is this track, is set to 0.00, and also make sure that you have like -6 of headroom. It's very, very important, -6 of headroom. So everything we are mixing should be around this section. Should be around this section. See this mark? Everything we are going to mix the highest peak should be around this peak, so that we have this headroom from this section to this section. We have this headroom over here for our mastering. Okay, so what we are going to do is to bring all the levels down. This is one of the steps we are going to do. After we compress our loop, the next section is to bring all the levels down. Okay, so let's do that quickly. In this case, we're just going to create the output for our kick, and we are going to route it into our drum group. So let's just listen to the kick alone and see and hear, and also identify the output for this particular kick, because it's a MIDI track, it's a MIDI instrument. We have to check the output. And okay, so this is our kick 2. That is a kick. So what we are going to do is click on the edit setting. There's another option to do as in the mixer, but I just want you to watch the project whilst we come on the mixer board, so you understand what is going on, as in and what is really going on. Okay, so you just go on the edit channel button. There's an output section over here, and then make sure that we are routing the snare to our drums group, to our drums. So you just select drum group as the output. This kick is going to play through the drum group. Now we're going to do the same to our snare over here as well. So let's just play the snare. Okay, so this is snare. Let me just name it a snare so we don't confuse ourselves. Snare, and we are going to do the same to it. We just go on the output. That is the third target. The output is on stereo. What we are going to do is we are sending it to our drum group. Yes, so you are going to repeat the same thing to the hi-hat, as well. So this output is also going to our drum group. Our shaker is also going to go through our drum group over here. So we are selecting our drum group for the shaker as well. And for the rolls, we are just going to leave them like that because they are all running in a different group as well. But we can decide to also put that one also into our drum group, so we know that the drum is one. So let's just go on edit channel and just go on the output over here and make sure the drum group is selected. So we've done the same for our rolls as well. Yes, so we've got all our drums going through this particular group. This is the group track we created earlier on. So if you solo the group, you could hear all the drums playing. And there's so many cool things you can do with this. Let's assume that I want to bring the level down. I can write an automation. I will explain automation further on, but I just want to demonstrate it a bit. That you just go and write And you can play around with the levels over here. Yeah, you can see the level is coming down. Yeah, the moment you play from this section, it's going to read the automation you just did. You see, so it's just a demonstration of the reason why we are doing this particular, how do you call it, drum group channel. Yes, it's really going to help us in a lot of ways. So this is our drum group, and to bring it down, what we are going to do is also located on the mixer over here. This is our drum group. So we are just going to bring the whole drum session down at once, and everything is going to work in this way. So we group them so that we can have control over them with just one knob, and that's why I did it this way. So this is our drum group. We are just bringing everything down. You can hear, so you can control the levels as well. Now, whilst you are bringing it down, so you have to always watch the main output level. We can monitor it also by going to the section. Make sure the meter is selected, and then whilst you play your drum, this is the drum group. You want to look at somewhere around this section. Yeah, so around this section is okay for us. Is okay for now, and this is our drums. In this section, we are just locating the E piano. We are sending it straight into our keyboard groups. So you just go on the edit button over here, and then go on the target, the same as output, and make sure keyboard group is selected for the E piano. And we are moving. This is another E piano instance of E piano, so we have to do the same thing to it. Yes, it's playing. This is a different E piano. This is a different E piano. So with this one, with this particular E piano, I think we are not using it at the moment. So let me just mute it, and let's move straight to the synth. So this is our synth. This is our synth. Let's try and locate the synth. Okay, so this is a polysynth. I think I spelled this wrongly. The polysynth. So this is our polysynth over here. Yes. So we are going to do the same thing. We click on the edit button, look for the output, and make sure that the keyboard group is selected. So you select keyboard group for the output. You just have to play it and locate the output. Okay, so this is the cello out. We are going to do the same thing to it. You click here, just go on the output, the target, and make sure that your keyboard group is selected. So that's it. And then we are going to do the same thing also to our sweep. So let's say with the sweep, we can leave the sweep just like as it is. With the sweep, it's no problem. We can leave the sweep like that. And then there's another instance of the synth also over here. This synth, this very synth. Okay, so this is the synth 2. I've got it over here. Let me just rename it. Well, the synth 2. We have to route the output also to our keyboard group. Yes. And then we do the same also to our bass. So this is our bass. This is our bass. Normally I like to keep the bass in a different group. We are just going to create a new group and name it our bass group. Our bass group. Just add it and send this output to the bass group over here. Okay, so this is the bass. You always have to play to locate where it is.
Okay, so this is the bass out. This is the bass. There is a difference between the MIDI and the normal output. So this is the output. You can see that the knobs are different. When you go to the MIDI section also, you see that the MIDI have got a different knob as well, the color as well. So there's a little bit of difference between, with the MIDI you don't have the option to edit channel. With the MIDI you don't have that option. So the moment you don't have the option, edit channel option, you should know that that is a MIDI track and you can't route the output from this section. Okay, so this is our bass. What we are going to do is we're just going to edit and send our output to our bass group. So this is our bass group. Yes. In this section, I like to bring the group, as in the whole keyboard section, down a little bit. So I'm just going to do it by just bringing it up. You can feel it over here. So I have control over all the whole, how do you call it, keyboard session. Now the bass is also over here, so I can just bring the bass also down. Now I'm keeping the groups closer to the instrument so that you know that, okay, this is a keyboard group. After, I'm just going to move all the groups into one side. So I just want you to understand that this is the keyboard group and that is the last track. All the up tracks, those here are the keyboards. You can see there is a keyboard folder, and this is the guitar group. These are guitars. We have the group, you know. So I'm just putting everything, the groups under the instruments, so that you understand how it works. The next thing we are going to do is to find the balance between the bass, the drums, and also the keyboards section. So the moment we get everything balanced and we have our -6 headroom, I think we can start the mix from that section. So let's just balance this whilst I play the song. I wouldn't be talking at this section, so just be watching, and then if I have something to say, I'll just chip it in. So I'm trying to balance the guitar group as well. There is some delays on the guitars. I'm just bringing it down a little bit. Yes. You know, we chose our FX tracks, and this is how you select your effects. You just go on this section and you can choose either your short reverb or your delay. Your effects always line up at the top. These are the group tracks. This is the main output, and this is a side chain. Yes. Yeah, so I'll be explaining that further. Don't be confused. This is just a beginner's course, and I just want to break things down. It's very simple for you guys to really understand it. Okay. After we've set up the group, we can always do tricks. You know, if the kick alone is very low, we can bring it up. If the keyboards, let's say the piano is low, we've got our piano knob
That's in the whole a whole channel dedicated to our piano, and we've got a channel for the whole keyboard session as a group. So I just want you guys to, let's see if I'm playing the E piano. So if I'm playing this E piano, I can just bump it up a little bit here. You see, so I can always work around everything. But if I want to work on the whole keyboard section, I just go to the keyboard groups over here. If you can find it, just click on the track over here, and you should find it. This is our keyboard group. This is our keyboard group over here. So I can just go on the keyboard group and bring everything that is under this particular keyboard group and bring it everything in this section. I place some kind of reverb on the E piano. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring the reverb down a little bit. I think it's sounded very loud, so that's what I'm going to do. As you can hear, I can decide to mix the kick, the drums, and everything, but I just mixed the loop, and I think it's sounding okay for me. I just added a compressor as I did. It sounded okay for me. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in the E piano, and then also bring in the supporting instrument as well. So let me just go on look for a compressor over here, and I think you guys should have this compressor. Everybody should have it. This is the normal compressor in the Cubase. Just go for a ballad piano, and I'm just going to tweak the things, the whole setup over here. So let's just have a feel of it with the compressor on it. I'm going to bring the threshold a little bit down. I like the ratio, the attack and the release is also set at automatic. And do something around 448. Okay, so let's assume that I love it. I like the way it's sounding here. I'm just going to add the dry mix, 5% of the dry mix to the keyboards. Let's see how it sounds. Now there are some changes. As a beginner, you wouldn't notice the changes as well, but just follow along, and as time goes on, you're going to understand certain things. Okay, I just don't want to make things more complicated for you guys. So what we are going to do, the next thing we are going to add on this E piano is just go straight and look for one equalizer. Yeah, so we've got our equalizer section over here as well. This is the equalizer in Cubase. So what we are going to do is just go on this section and press preset manager and load preset. We are going to look for electric piano, or better still, just search for piano over here, and I'm going to choose electric piano in the mix. Yes, and I'm just going to play around the preset. It's the fastest way to get things done, and also you are going to learn. Just keep watching the curves. You know, there is a low cut over here, a massive low cut of around, let's say, minus 70 to 80 dB, something like that. Yeah, so there's a massive low cut over here. It's around 62 hertz of low cut, you know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work around, just be using this preset and just changing things to suit the kind of music we are going in for. So let's just listen to the piano and then just trick things around. One thing about low end is the moment you have a lot of low ends in your mix, it keeps the mix very muddy. So you try to cut some lows off from the mix. To keep things very simple, we are just cutting a little bit of our low end over here, so that we'll have our kick and our bass will have their way through. Yeah, it's just like creating a way for the kick and bass, because the moment you go very low, you know, it's going to keep things very muddy. Yes, and I know as time goes on you understand certain things. For now, as you are learning, things it's going to be like, what is this, what is that? But with time and practice, I think, and a lot of research, you are just going to be fine. So let's just keep our EQ at this section. Remember, I always mix with my ear, so I'm just listening to how it sounds, and if it sounds okay for me, I'm just going to leave it like that. So this piano sounds perfect for me, and I'm just leaving it just like it is. Yes, so I've just got a compressor on it. I've got one EQ working over here. That's my EQ. I don't have it on this chain. There's a channel strip as well over here, where you can see what is going on over here. There's a channel strip. I've got my EQ on it. The compressor is a plugin. I'm not using the channel strip compressor. I'm just using the normal VST as a compressor over here. And then this is my EQ here. If you are someone who like figures, you can also check all the figures over here and just enter them just as it is, and you are going to, you know, get the same settings as I've done. So let's just move straight to the next instrument. The next thing I'm going to work on is my snare. Now I've got a kick over here. This is a kick. Let me rename it to kick. Kick, so you guys can know what it is. This is a kick. It's a second kick. It plays only on my chorus section. This is my chorus. Plays only on the chorus section. So this particular kick, I'll be working on it later on. So let's just move straight to the snare. I like to add some kind of reverb to the snare. Yes, I'll compress it a little bit and add some reverb as well. So let's just locate the snare itself, the output of the snare from this section. I think we have it somewhere here. Okay, so this is our snare. So let me just name it as snare. This is our snare over here. So we are just going to add some reverb over here. Now there's a reverb we chose when we were preparing for the mix, so I'm just going to activate this reverb on it, and probably a little bit of delay, you know. So you just by choosing that, if you want to choose it, you just select here, and then there's a delay, there's a short reverb. So the moment you choose short reverb, it's going to pop up over here, and you can activate it by just putting this knob on. So that is what I did. And the level, I brought the level down like this. This is how you do it. I think I elaborated that on my previous lesson. So I'll be playing it and also hearing the reverb, as in the amount of reverb I need on the snare. So let's just listen together whilst I apply the reverb on it. Okay, so I think around minus 15.8 dB is a perfect blend for the type of song I'm doing. So this is the reverb I'm going to apply on my snare, And also there's a compression going on over here, so I know you know what it is. So I just went on the preset, just choose dance, and then I tweaked the preset a little bit to really have a feel of what I want, as in I mix with my ears, so I don't mix with numbers. Yes, it's very, very important. So your ear is this is the best tool for your mix. Yes, so let's just work around this compression as well. So I'm just adding a little bit of dry set now, and then also doing a threshold of around negative 21.8 dB. Yeah, I'm doing a release of 532 milliseconds, and with a ratio attack, I'm just going to leave it like that because I like the way it sounded, as in the way the snare is sounding now. I think I'm okay with it for the purpose of this lesson. Yes, so this is what we did for our snare. So I'm just going to add a little bit of delay to the snare, and just listen to how it's going to work. It's going to sound. So around minus 23.0 dB is what I chose, and I think I'm good for it now. Now with regards to equalization, I like the way the snare sounded originally, so I'm not going to do any EQ to this particular snare. I like the way it sounds. Remember, mix with your ear. It's very, very important. Don't mix with figures and all that. You know, it's good to know that. It's very, very important, but the point is what you hear is what the other person is going to hear. So make sure that what you are hearing is right, and if it sounds good and it's perfect, then that's it. And always remember to save your project. It's very, very important. So I'm always saving my project as well whilst I run this mix. I realize that the delay is so much. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit, down a little bit. Okay, so let me move straight to the hi-hat section, and the hi-hat start from here. In this section, I'm just going to apply a little bit of compression to our hi-hat, and I chose the same compressor we used previously, and then I chose the bumpy drum overhead. Now let's listen to it and see how we can work things around. Now I place a little bit of short reverb as well, so let's listen to it together. Yeah, so I place a little bit of reverb on the hi-hats. It's just a little bit of reverb, and I'm doing a compression, a little bit of compression over here as well. Let me add a little bit of drive signal, and then for the release time, I'm just going to set it to around 730. And just let's keep the ratio at 4:1. I think that is okay for now. And let's listen to the song together with how do you call it, the snare and the loop as well. I think I like the way it sounds. Let's just move straight to our shakers. For the shaker section, I'm just going to add a little bit of short reverb and do a little bit of compression as well. We're using the same instance of our compressor, and let's choose something like a percussion or something like that. We're choosing percussion 1. Let's listen to how it sounds, and we can just work things around from here. I think it sounded okay. Let's move straight to the next instrument. Our next instrument is our guitars, and what we are going to do is add a bit of reverb and compression and equalization as well. So let's just listen to the guitars and work on it. I'm just looking for a guitar preset. Okay, let's just go for something like a clean funk guitar. Okay, so I think the acoustic guitar picked is going to help us over here. Yes, I love the way it sounds. Now remember, this effect we are applying is on the track, it's on the guitar track. We are not working on the group track. We'll go to the group track. This is just to work on this particular guitar, and we are working on the guitar and the lead guitar separately. Yep. Okay. I'm trying to cut some lows. Okay, so I think I like the way it sounded here. So what I'm going to do here is just go on the channel strip, and I'm just going to apply a compressor over here. Yeah, so you double click on the compressor and it should come on. What I'm going to do is just use the threshold over here, do a release around. So let's assume that I just like the way I treated this guitars over here. I've got the threshold set to like minus 21.2 dB and the ratio of like 2:1 and 500 milliseconds of release time, and my attack is 47.0 milliseconds. Okay, so there's an auto makeup gain. I'm not using that, and there's a side chain. I just have to deactivate the side chain. What I'm going to do is just leave it like this, just like it is, and we are moving straight to the next channel, and that is our lead guitars. So let's just move straight to the lead guitars. And remember, I panned the guitar itself like to -51, so that means it's going more on the left side of your headphone or your speaker, and the lead guitar is playing on the right, 45 on the right, so it's playing more on the right,
down there left. So that is also very important because we can't keep all of them in the middle of the mix. The vocal will come in the middle of the mix, and the other instruments should be separated from the middle so they don't fight with the vocal. It's a beginner's course, so those intermediates and professionals, I don't think this course is for you. I stated categorically that this is a beginner's course, so I'm just taking things very, very slow and very, very simple as well. Okay, so this is our lead guitar. What we are going to do here is also add some compression on it. The same compressor we have been using over and over. We are going to add one instance of that compressor. Let's take picking guitars over here and hear how it sounds. This is our guitar track itself, this 2-track. We are moving straight to the guitar group. Yes, so this is where we are going to add our final compression over here, and there's going to be a little bit of reverb as well here. So let's go. So this is a poly synth. I would have to work on it. So what I'm going to do here is to add a little bit of compression. Just look for something around synth. Okay, so with regards to the synths, I'm just going to leave it very simple, and I'm just going to choose one preset over it as a dance master, and I think I'm just going to keep a little bit of dry signal down over here. And keep my threshold around -28.5, and the other things I'm just going to leave the release time, everything just like it is. I'm leaving it like that, and I will do a little bit of EQ as well over here. Let's work with the channel strip, and let me just put this EQ on so I can just cut some lows over here. So I'm just going to keep it like this for now. In this section, we are just going to work on our cello. Now with the cello, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of compression and probably an EQ if necessary, and probably a reverb or a delay, something like that. You know, with a string instrument, you can do some reverbs, you know, to make it sound nice. Yeah, so this is the output. I just did a little bit of compression on it, a threshold of, let's say, -20 dB. Let's listen to it. Yep, and then I just added a short reverb we had with a little bit of delay. Other section, let me just bring the reverb a little bit down. So we have to just pop the level up a little bit. just bringing the level of reverb a little bit down. With the mixing processes, everything has to do with your ears. So, these are some of the things you can do yourself. And I'm just teaching you this so that you can do your own music, create your own music, and work on your own. I'm not expecting you to do everything the same as I did. Yes, so I'm just explaining things to you and making the things very simple for you. As you grow in music production, you understand certain things and you're going to learn a lot of tricks, So I'll urge you also to research on a lot of things, and those things are going to help you in your music production career. In this session, we are just moving straight to the sweep, and with the sweep, I hope you guys know where we took it from. We took it from our groove agent. That is the chart breaker, and that is it over here. So we are just going to listen to it and see if there are some corrections in terms of compression or equalization. If it's okay, we just leave it like that. Yep, I think I'm just going to leave the sweep like that, just like it is. Probably I'm just going to bring the level a little bit down. Yep, I think it's okay this way. For the synth, I've already treated it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen to the synth section and probably a little bit of compression and EQ. If it sounds okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so let's assume that this is the same. This is a synth, and what I like to do here is probably a little bit of compression. Sometimes the sound is okay. It sounds okay. You just don't have to. Remember, I'm working with my ear, so I think I set it on a threshold of -28.7, and then the ratio probably 1:1 or something like that. And then the release is 500 milliseconds. I like it that way. And then my attack is also on 1.0 milliseconds. So I think now there's other thing I can do. I can also sidechain there's other thing I can do. I can also sidechain the synth itself to my kick, because that's why I left the second kick. So I had that in mind. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sidechain this second kick over here. You can see that it is snare, but in a normal sense it is a kick. It's a kick, so I just have to name it kick, and then what I have to do is I'm going to play the kick and also play the synth. So let's assume this is my synth. I'm okay with it. What I can do also, okay, so I love this synth. What I'm going to do is probably add a little bit of reverb to it, just a little bit of reverb, not so much, just a little bit of reverb on this channel. I'm just going to take my short reverb over here. We are just using one instant of reverb over here. So now there's one cool thing about Cubase as well. So in the next session, I'm just going to show you how I'm going to sidechain my kick and my synth as well over here. Now in this section, we are just going to sidechain our kick and our synth, especially on the chorus section. So what I'm going to do is I'm bringing, Cubase have got a very cool feature over here where probably, let's say this is the synth, this is the infographics of the synth. That is a graphic analyzer. Now we can also bring in the kick, as in our second kick also over here, kick 2. We can bring our kick 2 here, so we can watch the two of the graphics simultaneously. So we can check, and then it's going to help us in our sidechain decision as well. So
Okay, you can see that the kick, I've got a lot of room, you see, and then the synth also is playing at this section, you see. So the point is with this, you can decide if you want to sidechain or not, but looking at what is happening over here, I think I'm just going to leave it just like it is, because I wanted to sidechain the synth and the kick. Not the kick on the loop, this is the real kick we played. If you follow the lesson from beginning, you could see that we played our first kick before bringing in the loop. Yes, so this is our original kick we played before bringing in the loop. Yes, and then we decided that, okay, we are going to play our original kick in addition to the loops kick only on the chorus section. So this is why I'm comparing these two over here. So I think I just don't want to get you confused. So looking at how the thing is playing, I may leave it like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sidechain the synth, as in this synth, to the, how do you call it, to the kick. So what I'm going to do is we are going back straight to the second kick, and this is our second kick over here. This is a channel for our second kick. So what I'm going to do now is to go straight on the sidechain, and at this section you can see setup sidechain input. So the input is going to be our kick, and that is our second kick. That is the original kick we played. Remember that is on our loop. This is our loop. This is what we are going for. We are going for the kick too. So we are sidechaining the kick and this very synth at this section. Now, the way this works is, the sidechain works is, the moment, let me just choose one of our output over here, and that is going to be our kick 2, so that we can monitor the infographics as well. This is a kick 2, yes. You can see the moment the kick comes in, the synth goes a little bit down. So that's what the sidechain does. You can use the sidechain on your bass and your kick, you can use it. I just want to explain things to you so that you guys know how things work. So let's play it and see. If it doesn't sound good, we'll have to do it the other way around. So let's listen and see. Okay, I think I don't really like the way it's sounding. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it the other way around, and the other way around. Okay, so we'll start our side chaining over here. Let's activate the side chain and then choose our synth 2 as the input. So any time the synth plays, the kick will go down a little bit. I think that is better because we've got a main kick playing the loop. So let's look for the synth. I think we named it a polysynth. Yeah, I think this is sounding perfect. Yeah, so we've got our synth over here, and we've sidechained it to our kick. So I think this sounds very well. Yes, so with the mixing, you just have to be trying things and making sure that things work. In this session, we are just going to work on the kick and our bass. You could see that the kick, what we played, is always playing when the bass is playing. You can see this is what we played. The bass is here. It's also playing at the bass. So we are just going to also sidechain this particular kick and the bass. We are not going to sidechain the kick from the loop, but rather we are sidechaining the kick we played with the bass. So what we are going to is the same process we did to, how do you call it, to the synth. Yes, so we are going to do the same thing to our bass this time. Yes, so this is our bass. We can just use our bass group to do that also, as well as also use the normal bass channel as well. So I'll prefer using the bass group for this very one. Yes, so we just have to initiate a compressor on it. I believe everybody have got this very compressor. So let's look for a bass, something like a bass preset, fretless bass, straight bass. I'm just going for a straight bass kind of thing. Yes, let's listen to the bass and see how it sounds. So what I'm going to do now is to sidechain this very bass. So you just click on this knob to activate the sidechain and just go on the input. So the input is going to be our kick 2. So that anytime the kick 2 plays, it'll have influence on the bass as well. Yes, so they can play together. So I'm just taking the kick 2 as a sidechain input for the bass. So let's listen to it and see how it sounds. I'm just increasing the level of the bass group. So I realize that this synth is a little bit loud. I just have to bring it down a little bit. You know, that's the mixing process. The moment you go forward, you realize that there's a problem somewhere. You come back and solve it, and then you move on again. On this note, we'll be ending the lesson now. Now, our next session is going to be with the vocals. Now, there's going to be a vocal on this particular track, and I know that you guys are going to enjoy it. So, the singer is going to sing on it and create a song for it, for this very beat, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. So, see you in the next session. In the next session, we are just going to mix the vocal and then mix the vocal with our whole song as well. And before we move to the mastering section, peace. And see you in the next lesson.
Hello and welcome to this session. My name is Uriah once again from XBeat Music, and today we are just going to work on our vocals. Our vocal is ready for our beats. If you follow the course, the beats we have been producing from the onset, I've got some vocals from an artist, and what we are going to do is we are going to import the vocals as in the audio tracks into our project. Stay tuned. Let's assume that you've got your audio files already from your vocalist or your singer or whatever it is, and you want to bring it into the project. So the very first thing you're going to do is to go on File and then go on Import. You locate audio files over here, and you should select the audio file. So let's assume that I'm starting from the bottom. So let's say this is my audio track, backing vocals 4, backing vocals 3, backing vocals 2, and backing vocals 1. So let me just import the backing vocal 1. Since I've already selected that, highlighted on that, I'm just going to import backing vocal 1 into my project. So you just go on backing vocal and then just go on open. You can also audition it here by playing it and listening to the whole audio file. If that is what you're going in for, you just select it and then and then import it. So in my case, I already know how it sounds, so I just have to import it directly. So you just go on open, make sure that this box is always checked, copy file to projects folder, so that all the files will be copied into your Cubase project folder, as in your song project folder, so you don't end up losing your audio tracks. If you don't do it this way, you may end up losing the audio tracks. So sample rate, convert to 441 because you're working in 441. It is already in 441, so you wouldn't get the option. And then the bit rate, the bit depth or the bit rate is also 24 bits. So I've already done that already, so we don't need that. Yes, and then just go on OK, and then you're good to go. So we go on OK, and then our file is imported straight into our project. So we just have to align it to the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to align it this way, and then in my case, if I start from this one section over here, it is automatically aligned to everything. So that is how I exported the file. So I started from the first marker to the end of the song. So you just have to figure out how you exported your files, and you should be good to go. So this is my audio, this is my backing vocals. I'm just going to repeat the same process to all the other instruments. Let's assume that we've got our vocals, everything is imported, so we'd have to listen to it first. And I'm going to tell you that we are going to fix every problem in this vocal. So no matter how it sounds, just keep it like that. And then I'm assuring you that that is what we are going to learn, how to fix the vocal. So every mistake in there, we are going to fix it ourselves, and that is part of this whole lesson. Yes, so please listen. I would like to play just a short version of the vocal for you guys to have a feel of it. After on, I'm just going to work on the vocal. So let me just go ahead and play it for you.
You're the one that could see something great on me. You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my sins. Cause you know my worth, you made me get up from below. I can trust that you are the man that we always told me. I know I can be myself with you. Understand what I do. Now this type of love is something new. All the other ones act like a fools. I can feel happy with you. This type of love is something new. My dear, I'm here to be forever with you. Forever with you. Oh my dear.
I just wanted you guys to have a feel of the music, and trust me, you're just going to work on the song and it's going to sound better. Yeah, so some of the notes are flattened and all that. We are going to solve all those problems, and that is why we are doing this course. It's a learning process, so we'll have to work around this and then make sure that we fix everything in there to make the vocal sound very, very nice. Yes, we are going to create our folder for the vocals. After creating our vocal folder, we just move straight to our vocal group, and then we group our vocal just like we did for the other instruments. Yes, so I'm just going to create a folder track over here straight up very fast, and I'm just going to name this folder track, let's say our vocal folder, and then just go and enter. Now this is our folder over here. I'm moving it up here. I'm just going to add everything here just like we did, very fast for you to have a feel of it. I'm just going to add it this way. Just moving it to the folder, and that's all. We've got our vocal folder over here. Yes. In this section, we are just going to treat our lead vocal first, and what we are going to do is solo the lead vocals and then go through it.
Now we are going to work around the vocal and do our pitch correction with a pitch correction tool in Cubase, that is the Vari Audio. Yes, so what we are going to do is you just double click on the lead vocal, that is the lead vocal in your shot over here. I'm just going to double click on the lead vocals. Now there are other cool things you can also do. You can also select, and you've got other pictures and the things you can add. Let's assume if this is a vocal, you can just choose a microphone or something like that. Now I'm just showing you this, you know, it's part of the things in Cubase, but that wouldn't change the sound of your music anyway. So let's say we are choosing this as our microphone, go on OK. Yeah, so we've chosen our microphone over here. You just go on OK. This is our mic, indicating that it is our lead vocal. So there are other things you can use to identify your tracks in Cubase. So, but anyway, it's not going to change your sound. Yes, the sound is the sound. It's not going to change your sound anyway. So let's go straight to the Vari Audio. So what you're going to do is you just double click on the lead vocal, and then we should get the audio section over here. That is the audio edits bay section. Yes, so to the next thing we're also going to do over here is just go on edit. You can see it over here. If you can find it, if it's closed like this, you just go on Vari Audio. There's a difference between the audio WAP and the Vari Audio. Yes, so you just go on Vari Audio over here, and then make sure you click edit Vari Audio. So you just go on edit, and you should get something like this on your screen, analyzing the whole. Cubase is analyzing your vocal, and you're going to see the notation of it after the analyzation is initiated. Yes, so this is our vocal. You know, it is split into notes. Yes, so this is our vocal, so we can work around the vocal, do our pitch corrections, you know, change things around, move things, you know, do a lot of different things. Now before we do this, we have to do one thing. I'd like you to save this, your lead vocal, elsewhere, you know, so that when there is a mistake or something like that, we can quickly come back. Because to undo, we can use undo, but most of the times you can undo and undo, and you end up undoing something nice. You understand what I mean? Yes. So what we are going to do is you're going to save a copy of this lead vocal somewhere. The simplest way to do that is you hold on alt and just make a copy, click and drag, and place this vocal over here, and then shift it somewhere. You can just shift it just to this section, you know. So with that particular vocal, we've got nothing on it. There's no Vari Audio on it. You can see in your shot that there is no Vari Audio on this particular vocal. So the moment we make any mistake, we can come back to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same, repeat the same process for all the vocal tracks. So we just select all over here, and then you hold on alternative, and then you make a copy and paste it over here. So let me just repeat the same process. We are doing the same for all the vocals. So you just select all the vocals over here, and then hold on alternative and just make a copy of the vocal. Or you can do Control D also and make a copy of the vocal. Or the fastest way to do that also, you can just click on the folder track and then hold Alt and drag it and place it over here, and you have your files over there. So that's one benefit of the folder track. You can move things around and do so many cool things with it. So let's say we've got our copy over here. Let's move straight into the Vari Audio and edit our lead vocals. In this section, I'm just going to create group tracks for the vocals. Now let's start with the lead vocal. So I'm just going to go on add and just go on add track, and then you locate group. Now in this group, you're just going to make sure that the configuration is on stereo, the audio output is also on stereo, and then we create the group outside the folder, and then just name it lead vocal. Okay, so this is our lead vocal group. Let me add group to it so that you can see the difference. So we just go and add lead vocal group, and then we are getting it outside the folder, so we have it over here just beneath our lead vocal. We can use that for automation and use it also for a lot of different cool things. Okay, so let's move straight to the backing vocals. For the backing vocals, I'll just suggest you hold on shift and then select the last one, and then just go on add, right click and go on add track and go on group track, and then let's name it as our backing vocals, backing vocal group. Yes, and then just go on add track. Now you could see that we have it over here, but it's not routed yet. I just want to show you another way of routing the groups. So we come on the first one, the backing vocal one, and then you look at this section, that is the output. Make sure you select group over here, and then we go straight to our backing vocals group. That is the very last one. You just select that. You do the same for the vocal 3, and let me move the 2 up here. So you do the same for the vocal 2, backing vocal 2. We just go here, you make sure it's selected, you go to the output section, and then send it straight to the backing vocal group. There's another way also. On the third one, I'm going to show you another way. You can just go on the edit button and just go here. You've got your stereo out over here like we did for the other tracks, and then just locate your groups over here, and we are going to choose backing vocal group. So that is another way of selecting your groups, and we're going to do the same for the 4th backing vocals. So you can either you go this way or you go the other way around. Yes, so that is what we are doing for the vocal. So let's move to the next section.
Hello and welcome once again. In this section, we are just going to work on our vocals, and we are starting with the lead vocals. Now this is very audio in your shots, and this is how it looks like, Yes, so we are just going to solo the vocal and listen to it and correct the pitches over here. There is something I'd like you guys to do. Let's assume that this is your audio. I'm just going back. You see that you've got the option of definition, audio WAP, and vari audio. So if you select on vari audio like this, and let's assume that you've already activated vari audio over here. Now there's one thing I'd like you to also watch. That is the smart control. I'd like you guys to set it to show all smart controls. Yeah, so what it's going to do is it's going to help us with newer functions in Cubase, like this diamond knobs, and we can use it for so many cool things in our edit. Now remember, this course is a beginner's course, so I'm not going to cover everything on vari audio. There is another cool function in vari audio we can also implement on our vocals. Now what you are going to do, you select all the vocals, and then you could see there is quantization pitch, and then there is a straightening curve. Normally it's on 0. What I did was, let me just demonstrate it so you guys have a feel of it. You select everything, and whilst you play, you can just quantize the pitch, as in the amount of quantization you want to impose on the vocal. So let's audition it and listen to how it sounds.
Hey,
You could see that the moment I'm moving it, you can see that the wave is moving a little bit. You can see the changes in the movements. Yes, that is the quantization of the pitch. Yes, so it is quantizing the pitch, as in making sure that it falls on the grid. Let me put it like that way. Yes, so I chose I got a sweet spot at 42 because I can't be repeating the process all over and over. And then the straightening of the curve also, you can see that the moment you go on straight, you're going to get everything straight. But the moment you do it this way, it's going to sound like auto-tune kind of thing. So just listen to it and see.
hey.
You see, it's not natural. Yeah, so make sure that the straightening of the curve, you just do it, just a little bit of it. And whilst you do it, also try and listen to it with a song and figure out if it sounds nice, you keep it like that. But if it doesn't sound nice for you, you can just work on. But mind you that you can also work on individual tracks, as in you can do the pitch correction. That's why we've activated the smart controls as well to enable us to do these things very, very quickly. Yes, so let me just play it again for you guys to have it.
Hey.
Now there's another thing here we can also do. This shift format is like it shifts the whole pitch, you know. It's like a shift the pitches, so you can just listen to it and see how it is. So you can just explore with it, with some of the functions in Vari Audio, and as a beginner, just try things, you know, on your own. I'm just showing you the way, but I'm not expecting you to do things like the way I'm doing things. You know, everybody's unique, and I believe that you can do so many cool things with Vari Audio. Now, there's another thing also I'd like you guys to know. So let's say after we've selected everything and then done this minor pitch correction, we can do a major one just by, you know, correcting the notes individually. So let's say from this note, you can move this note up and down. You know, let's listen to it and see. You can see it's very off. You can bring it down, you can move it down. You know, you have the option to move the notes up and down, individual notes up and down. Yes, and you have the option also to work on individual wave curves. So let's say with the diamond, this diamond, you can just bring it here. It's just like a kind of selection tool or a range selection, something like that. Yes, so we are selecting this range from the left to the right. We can also work from this point to this point. That means everything after this point is not affected. When you start working from this point, that means everything after this point is also not affected. I hope I'm making sense in this tutorial. Yes, so just like I said, you can work on this very small wave over here. You can see that this line, this is where the diamond is, and you can see that the moment I bring this wave curve down, it affects only the small portion. So that's how you use Vari Audio. You can use this for so many cool things. Let me just audition this.
There is another option also for the Vari Audio. You can move things around, cut a section of the wave, you know, as in the particular side you want to work on, and keep changing the note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the vocal behind the scenes, because Vari Audio takes a lot of time. I'm just going to work on it behind the scene and then come back and also give you a general overview of what I did to the vocal, as in the main lead vocal. This is my lead vocal, as you could see over here. I would have to move straight from this lead vocal to my backing vocal 1. Now this is what I'm going to work on. First, I like to listen to the backing vocal 1, as in normally what I like to do is I like to listen to everything, as in the whole vocals with the backups, and then after on I make my decision on which one to tackle first, you know. So I'm just going to do that very, very quick. And you know, we created our group track for our backing vocal, which is this very track. The moment we solo it, we've got our backing tracks working perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play my backing track and then have a listen to it.
And I will be forever with you, forever with you.
Now I'm just going to also enable the lead vocal to guide us make our decisions, you know. So let's just listen together, just a piece of it from the very first portion. Let's just listen together.
You're the one that could see something great on me, great on me. You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my sins, 'cause you know my worth, you make.
So as you could hear, there are different type of, you know, backups, you know, some and other things as well. And then there are a lot of doubling going on. Sometimes there's a little bit of harmony as well. But what we are going to do, we are just going to treat them very simple as a beginner level course. I'm just going to work on it and then show you how to you know, put things together.
In this section, we are just going to create our FX track, that is a reverb and the delay also for this particular vocal. The delay and the reverb is dedicated only for our vocals, so take that into consideration. So I'm just going to create it beneath the vocal so that you guys can see it, and then we are going to do so many cool things with our delays and our reverb over here. So I'm just going to add an FX track and then name it probably reverb. I like reverence. I think everybody have got it. we are creating it outside folder, so we have it over here, just like we have the lead vocal group over here. So I'm just going to name it vocal, lead vocal reverb, and just add it over here. So this is the reverb, this is reverence. I'm just going to leave it here, just close it. In this section, we are just going to learn automation. Now, from this section of the cello start from this section, and from the second 8 bars, I would like the cello to come down a little bit. That's in the level of the cello to come down a bit. So let's say when the cello starts playing from here, let's go.
You're the one that couldn't see something great.
So from this section, I would like the cello to come down a little bit. Now what we are going to do is to run an automation over here. So to run the automation, you just click on write. Make sure you select the channel in which you want to. You can see write automation. So you just click on write over here. And while the song is playing, you can change the level of the cello. Hope you get my point. You can change the level of the cello. So let's start playing and then just bring the level here using this particular volume knob over here. So let's go.
You're the one that couldn't see something great on me.
Okay, you can see that I've got a volume kind of thing over here, down here. Now this is the automation I did. This is the automation I just did.
You're the one that couldn't see something great on me.
Yes. So we are just going to select everything and delete it for now. And what I'm going to suggest is you just go on the pencil tool. Make sure you click this section. And then also we are going to click this section, the latter point. You see this very diamond over here. We are going to use this diamond and bring it down like this. So in actual sense, when you play the cello from here the level will be sounding higher, but when you get to this side, it's going to drop. So let's listen to it. You see, so we can also use the same. This is the principle we are going to use over here to just write an automation for the cello, so it comes down a little bit, especially when the song is coming in. So what I'm going to do is I don't like it to be very sharp like that. I like it to fade out into the lower section. So you just click this side again, or you can move it. Sorry, make sure you click here. Let's delete this one. You can just delete by selecting it and then holding on the delete key, clicking on the delete key on the keyboard. So I'm just going to push this one here like this. So I have a very smooth transition between the higher end and the lower end. And I'm going to do the same thing over here as well. So for this section, I'm just going to leave it like that because it is playing from the very last point, you know. So I don't need that one. So I'm just going to leave it like this. So you can see the transition from here. So this is how you run your automation in Cubase. Yes. So this is a MIDI automation we just ran. We can also run automation with our panning. You can just go here. You can choose the mute. You can run an automation on the mute, on the send, on the MIDI. You can do automation on so many different things. There are more options over here as well. But as of now, we are running automation on the volume. So we can later run our automation on the pan if we wish to do that. So I'm just showing you what you can do with automation. Yeah, so this is the automation we are running over here. Now we can also run an automation on our lead vocal. So let's assume that if the lead vocal is playing from here, So let's assume that probably we would like to run an automation from the beginning of the song. So we have a smooth fade in kind of thing. So the same process, you just go on right, and then the moment the song start playing, you start moving the knobs. We can also run the automation on our lead vocal group, which is also the same thing. The lead vocal is just one track, so let's run it on this so that you guys have a feel of it. We can also run the same automation on our lead vocal group, on the reverb, on the delay. Is also possible. So let's say that we want to get a smooth transition from the very quiet side to where the vocal comes in. So we just run an automation here by just going on right, click on right first, play it and use the volume knob to control, as in where you want it to be loud, where you want it to be heard or high, where you want it to be low, high. You have to just control it with the volume knob over here. So let's go.
You're the one that could see something great on me.
Okay, so this is the automation just for the lead vocal. You could see that it is beneath the lead vocal. You can see the chain over here. This is the lead vocal, and this automation is affecting this very one because it is under this lead vocal. I hope it makes sense. Okay, so let's say it's just for demonstration. So I don't like this automation I did here. You just select everything here. The dots, the squares are your automation, so you can just select everything and delete it, and then plot your automation like this. You can just plot it and say, okay, from here from here to here, I like this particular channel to be very quiet, you know, so that means from this section it's very quiet. You're not going to hear any kind of noise or whatever if you don't cut the section. You can also cut it. You can also cut the side. You can cut it like this and just throw this section away. It's also possible. So we leave our vocal like that from where it starts. Now we can run our automation like this and say, okay, we want a very smooth transition from here to here like this. This is just for the lead vocal. There are a lot of cool things you can do. You can just change the shape of the curve so it doesn't look too smooth. You see, you just have to hold on this round thing over here and you can change the shape of it so the transition becomes very, very smooth. You can move this here and play around with things. You know, you can just play around with this. So let's listen to how it sounds. If you want to hear the automation together with the lead vocal or the MIDI track or whatever you are doing, you just have to go on read. First you write the automation, and after we've written the automation over here, we have to read the automation if we want the automation to affect the lead vocal. So you have to go on read automation. If it's on read and write, it's perfect. But remember that whatever you do to the level, whenever it's on write, it's going to affect it. It's going to write a new automation. So the best way is, if you finish writing your automation, you just put the W for the write automation off and just leave the R on. The R is just to read what you've already written. I hope it makes sense. Okay.
You're the one that could see something.
So you see this very C over here, this C. We can say that, okay, we want to treat this section by running an automation over here, just this very small section. And with this diamond, we just bring the level down a little bit so that the C comes down. You know, when you get to that section, it drops a little bit. So this is the automation. You can see if you check from the mixer section, you could see that when it gets to this automation, let me activate the mixer here. If you can see the mixer, you just go to this section, you get it here. The moment it gets to this section where we're writing the automation, you can see that this channel is going to move. This lead vocal will be moving. Just keep your eye on this particular fader. Let me play it from start so that you can have a feel of it. Let's start from here. You see, it just went down. You see, keep an eye on it. So it will move up and down, you know, according to where you want it to work. So if you see people doing this is automation, just automation. The next thing we are going to do is to run automation without delay. So this is my vocal delay. So let's assume that if I want the delay to be very high at a point, you could hear it in so many music. Let me just play it for you guys to have a feel of it. This very section, I want to repeat the very word the person said over here. I'm just going to, the singer said, I'm just going to plot my automation over here, between here. Just be watching the wave. This is your wave. This is our vocal wave, and this is our vocal delay track. So be watching here, from here, like. So from this point, let's say from this point, what I'm going to do is just hold this section up to here, and with a diamond just increase the delay over here. So when you get to this section, the delay will increase automatically. We are not hearing it because I don't have a lot of delay on this lead vocal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the delay rate over here for demonstration's sake. Yeah, so the moment you start playing, you could see that the vocal delay will increase from this section. This section, as we're working on the lead vocal, you could see that there's a lead vocal group, and that is why I apply the effects. What we did first was the equalization. We selected this preset, and that is a simple lead vox. You can see that we've cut some lows over here. All these low frequencies are out, especially from the 25k to like the 100 kind of column. I think we've cut some frequencies over here, and it's going to allow our lead vocal stand out. And then also in the compression section, we chose this normal compressor. I just want you to get used to one compressor, then after you move to a different compressor. So that's why I'm using this for the whole course, because I believe it's a beginner's course, and when you get used to one compressor, you can understand how it works, and then you move to the other one. So I chose a lead vocal in your face preset, and you can see I'm doing a threshold of minus 29 dB, 0.6 dB. And you can just watch my settings over here for the first time. And I brought a little bit of dry mix. I hope you understand the dry mix from the previous lesson. The dry mix is the raw vocals. I brought a little bit of the raw vocals into the compressed vocal, so we have the natural kind of feel over there. Other than that, it's going to sound like it's all compressed. Yeah, so I want you guys to have a feel of what each effect or each VST instrument is doing in this chain. So the first thing I started was with my equalization. This is a raw vocal. Just listen to it. Okay, and then I brought the equalization into it. I equalized the first equalization. Just check it.
You're the one that could see something great on me.
You can see that the low end, that's in the low end, that's the bass kind of thing, is out of the vocal now, so the vocal can stand out and, you know, cut through the mix. So I did a compression over here, and let's have a feel of how.
You're the one that could see something great on me. You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my sins.
So I'm just doing a little bit of compression in here, and then the next plugin in our chain is the de-esser. And as I explained, the de-esser keeps the S's out of the song. So let's say there are a lot of S's in it. You have the ability to choose a range, and mostly the S's is between the 5k and the 10k from this section, or a little bit down before the 5k to the section. That's where you get more of the S kind of sound, is more of the higher frequency. You get it in the higher frequency. So to tame those notes down, or those frequencies down, that's why I applied the de-esser into it. So you can see that without the de-esser, let's listen to the voice without the de-esser. Let me put it in.
You're the one that could see something great on
Can you see
me.
the difference? It's out now.
You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my
It's
sins.
going to be
'Cause
on
you
now.
know my worth.
It's on now.
If you made me get up from below,
Let's put it out.
I can trust that you are the man that we.
Yeah, so it's taking a little bit of the essence out. As a beginner, maybe you wouldn't be hearing it, or you don't understand why things are like that. But I just want to show you the chain. You do an EQ, you do a compressor, you can do a DSR as well. So on the channel strip, we've got a gate. What the gate does is, it's just like a normal gate. Just assume that you've got a gate in your house. The moment the vocal comes in, it opens the gate for the vocal. When the vocal is silent, it goes out. As a beginner, some of the things you didn't understand, but as time goes on, you understand. I'm saying that always work with your ear is the best way. Work with your ears. The moment it sounds good in your ears and they think it's good, it's perfect, that's it. That's how everybody's going to hear it. So from the compressor, I did my last equalization, and that is this EQ over here. It's the same EQ here. Yes. So I think this EQ was done from the onset. You can see that I went to the preset section and then loaded a preset called Lead Vox Female, and then I tricked it a little bit. Yes, I'm also cutting some lows. We cut our first lows over here. Sometimes some of the compressors and other VST instruments can bring in some frequencies that is not needed. So the last plugin in your chain can be an EQ. And in the mixing process, as I always say, it's just EQ and compression. And now we've got our reverb for the lead vocal, and that is it over here. We learned how to configure our FX send, and we are using it as an FX send over here. So this is the lead vocal reverb over here. Yes, and if you go through the lead vocal reverb, you can see that I have it over here, just beneath the vocal, so you guys can have a look. That is the reverb, and then we are using the plate at 3 seconds. It's the same reverb we used for the instrument and the snare and all that, but in this sense we have a different channel for this particular vocal reverb, so we can have control over it. Yes, so that's what I'm doing over here. And if you go to the channel, there's a lead vocal group. I've got it here set to negative 17.4. so that is the level of the lead vocal reverb. Sorry, so let me just play so you listen to how it sounds.
You're the one that could see something great on me.
Now there's an additional delay also over here, and this delay is dedicated only for the vocal. It's a vocal delay. So you can see that I chose the stereo delay. I was using the multi-tap delay before, but I'm not using it. What is active is the stereo delay. So in the stereo delay, what I did was I just went to the long vocal line, and that is what I chose. You can replicate my settings over here. There's a dry mix and then the wet mix signal. I'm doing like 46.3% of the whole signal. What you can also do is you can push everything up to like 100, and then you control the delay dry signal. Yeah, so in this case, I was just going to leave it to like 42 because that's what I did. You can trick with the knobs over here to have a feel of how things work. Yes, so this is a beginner tutorial. Let's just get everything simple, and we understand how these things work. Whilst we get into the advanced section, I'm going to do a different advanced course where we are going to be bringing different plugins in, solid plugins to get you the pro sound kind of sound you're looking for. Yeah, so in a nutshell, this is the delay I chose, and that is my setup. You can watch it and also replicate it and play around the figures and then see how things sound.
All the other ones act like a fools. I can feel happy with you. This type of love is something new. My dear, I'm here to be forever with you, forever with you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I like the way the delay is working over here for now. We'll be doing automation also to the lead vocal, and you are going to understand why we created a delay on a different track, so we have control over it. Yeah, so this is my vocal chain. Sorry, there is a EQ, compression, de-esser, and then I came back to the channel strip, and then I applied the noise gate compressor, and my last chain is the equalization over here. There's the EQ. and then I sent it to the reverb, the vocal reverb, and then sent it also to the vocal delay and to the lead vocal reverb. So this is what I did over here. So you can replicate my settings, and then this is the EQ setup, and then this is the compression setup as well, and this is the de-esser setup as well. You could see it over here. Okay, so let's move straight to the backing vocals and just blend them together with the lead vocal.
Hello and welcome to lesson 6. In this lesson, I'm just going to summarize everything I've done on the mixing section. As I told you in the previous lesson that I was going to work on the vocals and the backups, everything, and also work on the automations and everything behind the scenes and present it to you guys. Okay, so that is what I've done over here. Now, I'm just going to start from top. I'd like us to go through the whole song so that you guys can have a listen to it, and then after then I'm just going to explain everything I've done. Okay, so let's go.
You're the one that couldn't see something great on me. You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my sins. 'Cause you know my worth, you made me get up from below. I can't trust that you are the man that we always showed me. I know I can be myself with you. Understand what I do. Now this type of love is something new. All the other ones act like a fool. I can feel happy with you. This type of love is something new. I'm here to be forever with you, forever with you. Oh my dear, I am here and I will be forever with you, forever with you. Hey, when you came, this messed with my mind. How can a man deal with me so kind? Way always true and never lies. I don't even know how to stop it. All the trust I gave you worth it. The universe wanted you and me. Oh, the first is wanting this to be our ways from the sea. 'Cause you know my worth, you made me get up from below. I can trust that you were the man that we always hold me. I know I can be myself with you. Hey, you understand what I do. Now this type of love is something new. All the other ones act like a fools. I can feel happy with you. This type of love is something new. I'm here to be forever with you, forever with you. Oh my dear, I am here to be forever with you, forever with you.
In this section, I did a phone line kind of effects for the backing vocal. You can hear that whenever the lead vocal plays, there is some kind of ad libs or something like that at the background.
with a phone line. Yeah, so that's what I did. That is a green section. You can see they are all in green. I placed them in green so that you guys can see the difference. Yeah, so let me just play it so that you hear how it sounds.
You're the one that couldn't see something great on me. You're the one who wanted to deal with all of my like a fool. I get so happy with you. Oh my dear.
So that was how come I got this thing. So I'm just going to explain to you as in how I did it. So you just go on, I just did it on the track. You go on the edit button on the track and then make sure that your equalizer section is highlighted. And then just go on the load preset and you should get a phone line over here. So you just select this preset as a phone line and then that's how you leave it like that. And in this section, I just wanted a delay. I wanted it to fill the space, you know, to sound very big. Yes, so I pushed the delay very, very high and also the reverb close to the like the middle, that is around negative 10.7 dB. So that is how come I got the sound like that. Let me just put the delays off and the reverb off so that you can hear how the difference over here. I'll just place it on. Just listen to the difference also from this section. You see, so it creates like a kind of a bigger space for the whole music. It makes the song very big. This little thing. So you can be doing those things in your music and it's going to make it sound very, very nice. Yeah, so that's what I did for this particular ad-lib section, or the backing. I named it backing phone line effects. I'll add this project file to the course so you can download it and go through it and see how I did most of the things. So let's move straight to the next section. Balancing the whole music is very, very important. So you always have to make sure that you balance the music for it to sound well. You always have to use a reference material. Sometimes it's good. Reference material means that you have to take a song that is close to your song. Let's say a song from a different artist that is close to the song you are doing. And then whilst you listen to that song, you try to mix. You understand? You mix and to fit or to meet that particular song. So you have it as your reference or your reference as an example or something like that. So anytime you want to do something, you listen to the way they mixing it. You hear the reverbs, the delays, how it sounded. And just like I showed you the fundamentals, you can just achieve everything through this. In the subsequent lesson for my mixing and mastering for pro and advanced students, that one we'll be using different VST plugins. We will not be sticking to Cubase alone, because if you want to achieve greater height, you really have to get different plugins. You know, you have to use different plugins to get that result. Yes, so the mixing process is all about balancing, equalization, compression, and also sometimes de-essing, you know, and imaging and all that. Yes, so this is how I did the whole mix, and that is why the mix is sounding this way. You know, this is a beginner's course, so the pros watching this, don't judge me. It's just I just did it very simple for the beginners. Yes, so let's move straight to the mastering section. On the drum roll section also, I played a drum roll and then I added a little bit of short reverb on it. So I just added some reverb on the drum roll. I didn't do anything special to the drum, and then I sent it to the drum group, as you can see over here. So I did the drum roll, added a little bit of reverb to it, and then sent it to the drum group. So the drum group is already mixed. There is a compressor already on it, so I don't have to do anything hard, and it sounded okay for the purpose of this lesson. It sounded very okay, so I just left it like that. So that's what I did for the drum roll. You can see that there is a short reverb on the drum roll. Yes, just for it to fit in the mix. You know, it's very, very important. So reverb and delays, you know, they are very good for your song, or if you want to merge particular instruments or if you want to merge instruments into the mix, you know, the use of reverb and delays are very, very important in this section. Yeah, so that's what I did for the drum roll. Now in this section, I'm just going to summarize everything I did in the mix, starting from the cello. The cello introduces the music. So you can see that from this section, this is the cello in your shot over here. This particular one is a cello. You could see that I've run an automation over here. From this point to this point, the cello is a little bit louder. And from this point to this point, I'm bringing it down because the vocals is coming in at this section. You can see that the vocal here comes in from this section, so I'm bringing the cello down over here. So that's why I did the automation this way. So you just have a listen to it.
I didn't want you could see something great on me.
You can feel that the moment the vocal comes in, the cello goes down. So that is the whole concept of this automation at the cello section. I've showed you already how to run automation, so I believe you already know how to do it. Okay, so let's move straight to the next instrument. Now we've got our sweep also over here. And actually our sweep is the very first thing that introduces the music. What I did on the sweep was just to add a little bit of a short reverb on it. We've got a short reverb. You know how to assign it already. So if you don't know how to do it, just go on there, add effects, and then you do a short reverb. I think we did it in the beginning. So you just select the reverb and then I push it up to -7.77 dB. So that's what I did to the sweep. So I just added a little bit of reverb to the sweep, you know, to give it that kind of, to fill the space, you know, because it sounded very dry. So if your music sounds dry, sometimes reverb gives it a little bit of space, you know. It creates a whole space for the whole song or the beat. Yeah, so that's what I did on the sweep. So you can feel the reverb over here. Without the reverb, you see that there is no space there. Okay, the space is just like it's like you being in an empty room, speaking or singing in an empty room in a church or something like that, or probably in your bathroom. You can see that if the room is empty, you can hear some echoes, and let me put it that way so you understand. You can hear some echoes and all that in that section. So that's what I mean by creating some room for the sweep. So that's what I did for the sweep. And let's move straight to the next instrument. At the lead vocal section, I ran automation. You can see it over here. I ran the automation on the lead vocal group, but not on the lead vocal track. It's a group track. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so that I can, when I want to push the whole lead vocal down a little bit, I can do it without affecting my automation. So that was the main reason why I did that. So the lead vocal group is where we run our automation, where some of the parts are a little bit loud, so I had to bring them down. So it's a normal volume automation I run for the lead vocal. So that is what I did for the lead vocal. And also on the lead vocal, there is a vocal delay, especially at this section. You can see that you can hear that the vocal will repeat 2 times, you know, or more. There'll be a double delay kind of thing. The vocal will repeat itself, especially at the empty place. So I did an automation of the delay for this particular vocal. So let's have a listen to it.
I didn't want you could. I didn't want you could.
So you can see that the moment the empty space comes from here, the delay will go up, and then the moment you get to this section, also the delay will also go up. You know, you can see from the wave of the lead vocal, there is nothing here, so this delay is just filling the space. So that's why it sounds like this.
You're the one that coolest.
So I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. I know you guys know automation, so I don't have to really waste a lot of time on it. Remember, this course is just for beginners, so we just want to tackle things in a very simple way. Later, I'm going to do a course that will dive into mixing and mastering. That is for advanced and for pro Cubase pro producers. If you want to render, you go on file and then just go on export and audio mix down, and you should get something like this on your screen. So you can name your project over here and then show the directory as in the file path. You can see the file name, file path, and then review, so these two things are the most important things. You name your file, and then also you name the file path as in where the file should be saved. So after you've done that, you make sure that this section is checked, the stereo L and R channel, that is the left and right channel. If you select mono mix now, your sound is going to sound mono, that is going to play in only one speaker, yes, or in the center, let me put it that way. Yes, so you have to always make sure that the left and right channel is ticked. And then if you want to export MP3 wave, in my case I want wave, so I choose wave. The sample rate is 4410 and my bit rate is 16 depth. Yes, so if you want to export it and do your mastering somewhere else, or you want to send it to a mastering engineer to do the mastering for you, you can also do that by doing it this way and just hitting on export, and your file will be exported for mastering. Now, if you want to render multiple outputs, let's assume that you want to get a track out of it, you just go on multiple and make sure that you select all the instrument over here. You select everything, all the channels here. That's the simplest way. Make sure every channel here is selected, and we've already routed it, so you don't have to do any hard work. You just select all the channels, make sure you tick them this way, select everything. Just select multiple. It's very, very important, so you get all the tracks line up just like in the project. Yes, and then you make sure that the left and the right channel is selected. You select your wave, and then the bitrate 16 bit is okay, and then just go on export. There are other options as well, so you can go through the options and try it yourself. Let's move straight to the mastering section. Now, in our mastering, we are going to do all the mastering in our project. We wouldn't be going out of the project, so that this is the best way to do it, because if you are doing the mastering yourself and you do it in the project, when there is a problem with the kick alone, you can work on it. You can figure out the problem with the kick and solve it, rather than disturbing the whole file. If you've already exported it, you don't have full control over the mix. But if it's in the project and you're doing the mastering in the project, then you have full control over individual instruments. You can see we have our mixer here, so we can do changes at any time. If we feel something is not right, we can just correct it, and we still have our mastering going on. We don't have to export and come back and go back and forth. You don't do that. Okay, so what you're going to do first is you go on the edit button over here. We are going to do that on the stereo out. That is where we are going to do our mastering. So you just hit on the edit button, and you should get channel edit over here. Now, the very first thing we are going to use is our multi-band compressor. Yes, this is our multi-band compressor. It's what we are going to apply to the music. So let's listen to the music without anything, and then we come back to using the compressor.
You're the one that could see something great on me. You're the one that wanted to deal with all of my sins. 'Cause you know my worth, you made me get up from below.
Without a compressor. With a compressor.
I can trust that you are the way always show me. I know I can be myself with you.
And then with the compressor, we've got it's a multi-band compressor. That means it has got all the bands, the 4 bands, the lower frequency, and the lower the mid frequency, and then also the height, the higher frequency, yes, from like the 10Ks to the 20Ks, 20 kilohertz, yes. So you can treat individual band, but just replica my settings over here. Just watch it, and then you can dial it straight into your project. I'll be leaving the project file as well, so you can download it and also go through it. Yes. So the first thing on our chain is the Rockmaster 2. And remember, the mastering is where you're going to get the heaviness of the sound. You're going to get the sound to the full volume, or let's say to the full level, where it wouldn't be clipping, so that when they play someone's songs and they play your song, it sounds the same, as in the level sounds the same, So the mastering is where we are going to do all those things, yes. So our next thing on our chain is going to be the multi-band expander, yes. I chose the multi-band expander, yeah, because we are expanding some frequencies over here, so they sound well in the stereo mix, as in they sound well when you are using a headphone or in the stereo kind of section, yes. So it's a multi-band, so you can expand the bass, the low frequencies. You can also expand the mid frequency, and the height as well. So you can choose your frequency range where you want to expand, as in where you want it to spread. Let's say spread. Let me use that word spread for beginners to understand what I'm saying. Yes. So let listen to how it sounds with the multi-band. Sorry, without the multi-band expander and with it. So let's go. I think you guys can feel the difference, that the moment the expander comes in, it expands the whole stereo field of the music. It expands the music, it makes it wide in your ears. So just you can repeat the video and then just listen to it. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do over here is to add a stereo expander itself, or stereo enhancer. Let me put it that way. Yes, it's a stereo enhancer. So what the stereo enhancer does is it also spreads the music. It spreads the music. This is a stereo enhancer. This is our third VST we are going to use over here. The stereo enhancer, and it spreads the music. With this knob, that's the width, so you can spread the music. We are on 147. Let me put it at 100 so that you guys can feel the difference. Okay, so let's go.
Oh my dear, I am here and I will be forever with you, forever with you. Hey, when you came, this mess with my mind. How can a man deal with me so kind? Way always true and never lies. I don't even know how to stop it. I only trust I gave you all faith. The universe wanted you and me. Oh, the first is wanting this to be our ways from the sea. Does it know my worth? You made me get up from below. I can trust that you were the man.
So I think you notice the difference in the sound. So I chose this preset, the Dance Master, and that is what I chose for this stereo enhancer. Yes, so let's say the sweet spot is around 147. Don't expand it so much, because the moment you expand it so much, the song loses its punch. The whole heaviness of the song gets missing as well. So make sure you don't expand so much. So let's move straight to the next section. So the next plugin on our chain is the maximizer. And if you open the maximizer, you're just going to turn it on over here, and you can see that in this section we are not using any preset over here. When you open it the first time, the default, just dial this output to negative 0.7. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want it to clip. Clipping means you could see that the red line will come when you play the music. So when your music is too loud, some red line to get into the red. We are not going for that, and you see red kind of thing over here, over the 0 mark over here. That's not what we are going for. We are making sure that our mastering and everything is sitting between this section, this 0 here, and this 50 section over here. Clipping means as in the distorting. Let me put it that way. You see that the moment you push it too loud, your music will start distorting. So let me put it that way. Yeah, so set your output to negative 0.7 so that it's a little bit down. I just want to make things very, very simple over here. Yes, so this is, make sure this soft clip is always on. Put it on. It's going to help you a lot in the mastering process. Okay, so let's listen to the music with the maximizer. Now let's play the music without the limiter, and then let me introduce the limiter as well. With the limiter section, I think you wouldn't be noticing the difference, but I can feel the difference myself. And I did something very small over here. Now we are going to choose this preset, that is a push it louder preset. Make sure you go with my setting. You can see that at the output section, I'm doing of negative 4.2. Now the reason why I'm doing that, I don't want the song to clip. Let me just push it up so that you guys can hear how it sounds. The limiter is always the last thing on the mastering chain.
To be forever with you, forever with you. Oh my dear, I am here.
The point is we are not clipping as well. We are not clipping in this very negative one. So if you want, you can push it up a little bit, or you can come down a little bit. Most of the time I like to be around the negative 1.1.0, sorry. Yeah, so this time I like to just bring it down a little bit to like negative 1.9 so we don't clip anywhere we go. So this is our mastering chain for this course, and I'll play the song without the mastering chain and also play it with it. Yeah, so let's have a listen to it.
But you only wanted to deal with all of my sins. 'Cause you know my worth, you made me get up from below. I can't trust that you are the man that we always told me. I know I can be myself with you. You understand what I do. Now I just like love is something new. All the other ones act like a fool. I can be happy with you. Just like love is something new.
Congratulations! You just finished the course, and I'm very, very happy you did.